contingent far north of Phoenix, Arizona. You find to meeting of eyewitnesses.
Meet your fellow witnesses. This is Roger, Steve, Liz.
Pleased to meet you.
And you know.
And
Gary.
We were on our way home, and the kids saw a formation of lights down below the hill there.
What we saw was on the other side of Oxford Hill, and it was coming from the Paulden and the Prescott area and heading directly towards our house.
And that's just the relative size to the full moon. And
Mike Tanner brought the materials gathered from his field investigation back to the Phoenix office, where he investigates sightings with partners Jim De La Tosa and Bill Hamilton.
Fellas, how you doing?
Good. Now, Trig Johnson's sighting we've just been discussing here. Now we've transferred that over here.
okay.
It's labeled as Event 7.
The location of every witness who contributed videotape has been charted to determine the size, speed, and direction of travel of the UFO formation.
Fortunately, since we have video in these multiple locations, looking at the 10 o'clock event, the triangulation in the 3D database can let us see exactly what the pathway was and know absolutely whether it was in front of or behind the Estrella.
Jim De La Tosa is a world-renowned video analyst.
We've done some simulation and some conjecture about its shape, its flight path, its position, and created a 3D model as viewed from a satellite above the entire state over a period of 90 minutes to find continuity in what all the witnesses said.
In the meantime, the government has released its official explanation. The Air Force press release states that the Phoenix UFOs were nothing more than military flares dropped from National Guard aircraft.
Why should anyone believe the flare story? It's someone's duty, it's someone's responsibility to say that it was flares and it was hot air balloons and it was a mistake, it was a hoax, it was an accident, it was nothing.
In the past, this type of government statement would be the last word on the UFO sightings. But not today. The IM has made a comparative study of the images of the UFOs shot by home video cameras and videotapes of military aerial flares. The results are not exactly what the government wants to hear.
In analyzing the Phoenix lights, we have a long history of looking at flares, airplane lights, a number of things prior to this that are in the database where we know their digital characteristics and compare Phoenix lights to that database. So what we have is no match. And the taxonomy that we have left that describes it all is the same taxonomy as unknown lights in other places around the world.
Whatever created the lights certainly required a high degree of technology. It's unlikely that somebody with a hoax could be able to afford to do something of this magnitude.
The Phoenix lights has created an entirely new confederacy, let's call it, amongst UFO investigators worldwide that see that now there's something tremendous that's happened without a logical explanation.
For ufologists, the Phoenix event is particularly important because it falls in line with sightings of very similar craft in Great Britain, North Africa, and Japan. Is this the shape of extraterrestrial craft to come? The saucer is dead. Long live the triangle. And ufologists aren't waiting around for the government to feed information. They're stockpiling sophisticated computers, software, cameras, mobilizing more and more scientists and average citizens. The new millennium of ufology is born, and once we know as much about the present UFO situation as the government seems to, the hope is that the government will finally tell us the truth about the past.
Eventually the government announced that what happened at Roswell was a Christian aliens inside the United Nations. We're going to land at the river entrance to the Pentagon. Press in attendance, no way to hide it.
My critical mind tells me that we don't have the proof yet, but my gut, if you will, and in my heart, I am firmly and absolutely convinced that we indeed have been visited by alien beings from another world. Now we need to bear down and let's see what we can do about getting the proof.
The UFO question is not going to be solved until science takes it up and treats it as a science question. This thing doesn't have to be a mystery forever.
It would be naive to deny that the 100-year history of UFO cover-up is written with a tainted pen. There have been hoaxes, misidentified experimental aircraft, and weird atmospheric anomalies. But there have been enough cases shrouded by the mystery of an official pattern that we have to admit at least the possibility someone or something out there is trying to make contact. And if we stop looking, contact will never be made. For Sightings, I'm Tim White.
The history of UFOs and beyond can now be accessed with the Sightings UFOpedia CD-ROM. Alien abduction, government cover-ups, historical overview, and extensive databases are all part of the most comprehensive exploration of UFOs ever assembled. The Sightings UFOpedia CD-ROM, available in February.
The destiny of mankind will be determined in the stars. See the back-to-back series premieres of Space, Above and Beyond and Earth 2 tonight beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern. But right now, Martian invaders clobber our best defenses in H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. Sky Channel next. You're on the Sci-Fi Channel. Here's what's next.
Discover Houston, while you're looking at Orion, we're getting a pretty tremendous light show. We're looking at the lightning on the Earth.
On September 15th, 1991, American astronauts were transmitting images from the space shuttle Discovery when the camera captured a strange light in the atmosphere. Suddenly, the light appeared to blast into space, seemingly chased by two other lights. NASA dismissed the objects as ice particles that broke off the shuttle. Others call them unidentified flying objects, UFOs. UFOs are as old as ancient Egypt. A 3,000-year-old papyrus from the reign of Thutmose III may be the first account of a UFO.
It was a circle of fire coming in the sky. These things became more numerous. They shone more in the sky than the brightness of the sun. Thereupon these fire circles ascended higher in the sky toward the north. And what happened was ordered by the Pharaoh to be written.
A similar circle of fire appears in the Bible, Ezekiel 1:3. A prophet from the 6th century BC, Ezekiel described,
"A great cloud with brightness round about it and fire flashing forth continually. In the midst of the fire gleaming bronze, and from the midst of it came the likeness of 4 living creatures. Now as I look at the living creatures, I see a wheel upon the earth, one for each of the 4 of them, and their rims were full of eyes round about. When the creatures rose from the earth, the wheels rose."
He talks about a bronze wheel, wheel within wheels, a fire coming down, which could very easily be the corona that is so often described as associated with the disc-shaped craft. He describes seeing the small craft come down and land and people coming out.
Later, Ezekiel said, "The Spirit lifted me up."
This may well be similar to many reports we get today of experiencers or contactees being lifted through the air, up a beam of light into the craft.
Nearly 2,000 years after Ezekiel, on the other side of the world, another strange sight appeared in the sky. On September 12, 1271, in Taksakanuchi, Japan, a powerful priest named Najiran is about to be beheaded by a jealous warlord. Suddenly, a moving object appears in the sky. It is shiny and round and blindingly bright. The terrified executioners run for their lives, and the priest is saved by this strange flying object. Throughout medieval Japan, the unexplainable was commonplace. In 1389, 3 round objects of unusual brilliance were seen to join together into one large object in the sky. Then in 1458, the emperor himself was alarmed by the sudden appearance of 5 stars circling the moon. These stars changed colors 3 times, then sped off and vanished. In Kyoto in 1606, samurai warriors spotted a whirling ball of fire resembling a red wheel hovering near their castle. Strange objects likewise darkened the skies of medieval Europe. At the end of the 12th century, William of Newburgh wrote that monks in North Yorkshire, England saw a flat, round, silvery discus which flew over the abbey and caused utmost terror. French theologian Pierre Boistuau was similarly alarmed by the apparition of 5th, 1577.
About the sun, many dark clouds appeared, such as we are wont to see during great storms. Out of these clouds have come forth reverberations resembling large, tall, wide hats, and the earth showed itself yellow and seemed to be covered in hats, which appeared in various colors such as red, blue, green, most of them black. It is easy for everyone to think of the meaning of this miracle. God wants to induce men to amend their lives and make penance.
Flying hats coming out of the sky. I mean, it sounds bizarre, and ufologists read this and say, aha, these are, round spacecraft landing, More like it is these are tornadoes or cylindrical clouds. I mean, you can go out on any given day and look at clouds. There's a dragon, and there's this, there's that, there's a hat. There's a spacecraft. And these things might be illuminated by lightning, backlit by the sun, to cast these sort of eerie shadows on the ground. Let's say you took this really weird-looking cloud that looks kind of like a UFO. 400 or 500 years ago, somebody might think, oh, it's this weird thing. It's a landing craft of some kind. But we would look at it and say, well, it's a cloud that just looks like something we're seeing. It's just a cloud.
The late 19th century, like medieval Europe, was a time of miracles, of new marvels like the telephone and the automobile. But invention led to fabrication. Thousands of Americans across the country reported seeing an object that did not yet exist, an airship. In April 1897, the Chicago Times-Herald published an account of an airship by Robert Lowen of Evanston, Illinois. The body of the night flyer was about 7 feet in length, of slender proportions and fragile construction. To this body were attached a movable headlight and other lights. That same month, the Chicago Record reported that a great black airship was seen by 10,000 people in Kansas City. The object appeared very swiftly, then hovered over the city for 10 minutes. Green, blue, and white lights, it shot off into space. Throughout April, the sightings continued in California, Washington, and Canada. Then the stories until 6 years later, when the Wright brothers took to the sky at Kitty Hawk, and the public's imagination took wing as well.
In the late 19th century is when science fiction really got its start with books by Jules Verne and Wells, and it was in conjunction with flying experiments, lighter experiments. The Wright brothers were tinkering and so on.
Just as the turn of the century ushered in fantasies of flight, mid-century spawned dreams about space.
Consider the 1950s. We have this, a boom in science action. The space age is just beginning. It's Cold War anxieties. The Russians are doing this, the Russians are doing that, all this secret stuff. It's not surprising that people started seeing spacecraft. After all, we were spacecraft by the early 1960s. And so if it's possible to do it, why isn't it certain that it's already happening, at least in somebody's mind?
On June 24th, 1947, unidentified flying objects were finally identified, at least by name. A civilian pilot named Kenneth Arnold was searching for a marine transport plane that had crashed in the Cascade Mountains in Washington. Near Mount Rainier, he saw a blinding flash on the side window, then another. He located the source, 9 gleaming objects flying in parallel rows at fantastic speed. The whole world would remember the way he described them. He said they sort of skip and skim the way a saucer skips over water. Arnold's story of flying saucers alarmed the U.S. Air Force. They believed that during World War II, the Nazis had been testing a new form of aircraft, a turbine-driven saucer device. Plans and even some photos surfaced, including one with a German tank cannon. The saucer itself was never found, and the photo was later judged to be a hoax. But the Air Force worried that if the Nazi saucer did exist, it might have fallen into Russian hands. To investigate the rash of strange sightings, they hired Dr. J. Allen Hynek, a professor of astronomy at Northwestern University in Illinois. At first a skeptic, Hynek discovered that nearly 20% of UFOs could not be explained. Hynek labeled these sightings close encounters and classified them into 3 types. In the first, UFO is spotted. In the second, evidence like landing marks is left behind. In a close encounter of the third kind, alien creatures are actually seen. For 20 years, Hynek tracked UFOs. The scientific community saw him as an obsessed eccentric. He kept up the search in retirement until his death in 1986, yet found no evidence of alien visitors. But some ufologists believe the Air Force withheld the proof.
Hi, Brent Stewart from Third Rock. Watch Alien Invasion Week all week on TLC.
Alien Invasion Week is sponsored in part by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by SureTrade. Buy or sell up to 5,000 shares of stock for $7.95.
There are over 3 million people who count on Ford Taurus because Taurus has proven itself over 100 billion real-world miles and offers a Duratec engine built to go 100,000 miles before a tune-up. People have confidence in Taurus because it's designed for safety and quality. Hey, reasons go on and on, just like the Ford Taurus.
The actions of the stock market are complex and can confound. Even the most able investors are of it. But in rare moments, you can see the chaos become clarity. And then you act before the opportunity fades away. SureTrade, a internet broker for independent investors.
What it is all on the screen. I want to see the game.
Sorry, fellas, there is no football this week.
What? Now what are we gonna do? Abductions? Done that. Cruise Area 51? Again.
Check out Alien Invasion Week on TLC.
Investigations, new evidence. TLC is really on the ball.
Alien Invasion Week, hosted by Fox Friend Stewart, continues all week at 9 on TLC. Your mind.
Hi, I'd like to start getting home delivery of the Sunday New York Times.
Now you can enjoy Sunday even more by getting the New York Times delivered to your home every weekend. And now you'll get regular home delivery price.
I enjoy waking up and having a Sunday New York Times wake up me. I know it'll tell me things I won't hear or see anywhere else.
I get international and cultural news, and I get a jump on the week ahead.
Call now to order, and you'll get the book review, Arts and Leisure, Week in Review, and the New York Times Magazine.
On Sunday mornings, we catch up on what we really love. She goes straight for arts and leisure. I check out the magazine.
So call now to enjoy the Sunday New York Times for 8 weeks with home delivery, 50% off.
Hi, I'd like to start getting the Sunday New York Times at home. I think the only thing I enjoy more than doing the crossword puzzle is actually finishing it.
Call now, 1-800-453-3212, and get the Sunday New York Times delivered to your home every weekend.
For me, Sunday was made for New York Times.
The Air Force itself had a first-hand encounter with a UFO on October 1st, 1948. Flying over North Dakota, Second Lieutenant George Gorman spotted a lighted object.
It was about 6 to 8 inches in diameter and round, without fuzz at the edges. It was blinking on and off. As I approached, the light became steady and pulled into a sharp left bank. I dived after it, but I couldn't catch up with the thing.
Shaken pilot told investigators the object moved as if guided by reason. Air traffic controllers are to confirm the object's high rate of speed. In the early 60s, official reports of flying saucers plummeted. UFOs would have vanished off our collective radar were it not for pop culture, which picked up the flag and ran. Amusement parks featured space themes, and movies kept UFOs flying high. Then, in the middle of a decade of protest, a small band of Americans began to speak out about an incident they claimed was covered up 20 years before.
In 1947 alone, every state of the Union except one reported flying disc-shaped objects in the sky that were performing at unbelievable rates. If you look at Roswell as an isolated incident, you have to ask yourself, what is this ship doing in Mexico? On the face of it as one fact, it makes no sense whatsoever. Put in context of the summer of 1947, and you say, oh, I understand, they were all over the place. And they found themselves focusing on New Mexico. And yes, one came down.
In 1947, newspapers astounded readers with reports of a flying saucer on a farm near the town of Roswell, New Mexico. But the Air Force quickly refuted the story, stating that the flying saucer was merely a weather balloon.
I'm here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States.
In the 1960s, a number of people who were first-hand witnesses to not the crash, to the subsequent fall of involvement and their attempt to stop any information coming out of that area started coming forward. Credible witnesses who actually handled material, saw material, or were part of the actual examination and subsequent, perhaps, disposal of the bodies that were recovered.
The legend of the Roswell saucer and the alien bodies has grown over the years, until now it has become an icon for the supposed government cover-up of the existence of UFOs. Russ Estes is a documentary producer who has studied the Roswell crash.
The incident in Roswell, New Mexico is probably our best possible scenario for alien contact because of the number of witnesses involved, the reports of debris, the type of debris, the amount of cover-up that has most obviously taken place over the years. It keeps drawing us back to Roswell 50 years later saying, you know, this is the one that requires the hardest look.
A native of Roswell, Frankie Rowe remembers her father's account of the crash.
He was so excited he couldn't hardly talk. He told us that they had gotten a call that morning. They thought they were going to go out to a plane crash. And when they got out there, what it actually was the crash of a flying saucer. And he said that when they arrived, there was one little person that was still walking around outside of the craft, and two that they knew were dead because they had already been covered over. And called body bags. They all knew the sadness. They could feel the sadness that this little person had over losing the companions. And the person told them that they couldn't help in any way. So they had only been there just a few minutes when the military arrived. And after the military got there, they chased them away.
The problem now is that it's half a century old. And we're left with this question as well, how good the memory is, how much is being distorted, how much are we leading their memory? And there's no way to really tell at this point what's totally objective, what's subjective, except the few people who were directly threatened by the military and told that if they divulged what they had heard or what they had seen, their bodies would be found, or their bleached bones would be found decades later under the sands in New Mexico.
Something happened at Roswell. Best guess that we have found was contact by an alien craft. If someone were looking at us, looking for a signal, in 1945, 100 miles from Roswell, a signal was set off. It was called the atomic bomb. After that, the only place in the world where rockets were being launched into space was right outside of Roswell. Atomic testing continued right outside of Roswell. The only nuclear strike base in the world was at Roswell. Beacons, lots of beacons. So consequently, there's the place to look.
According to some locals, the Roswell saucer and the bodies of its alien occupants were taken to a top-secret Air Force base near Groom Lake, Nevada, known only as Area 51. The Air Force has never confirmed the existence of this base, but it's famous nonetheless. Enthusiasts line distant peaks to catch glimpses of unusual aircraft performing UFO-like maneuvers.
A bright object is being spotted right there. Suddenly.
There have been rumors for more than 20 years that the government has acquired either partially destroyed or intact UFOs that have either been captured or given to us through some mechanism. There have been a lot of unusual aeroforms seen, videotaped, photographed in the area that display behavioral characteristics, meaning flight dynamics, which are highly atypical of fixed-wing or rotorcraft, producing high-G maneuvers and sudden shifts in directional attitude that aircraft we know of today cannot duplicate. We don't have any hardware, we don't have any software, we don't have any bodies, so we're left, the question is, it's open for conjecture, speculation, and until something more substantial comes forward, there's not much we can do about it.
Something substantial may have already emerged. In the spring of 1961, Robert Dean saw something unearthly in the sky.
And it was out about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning on the West Range, and we were out there because Republic, or one of the aircraft companies, was preparing to launch a radio-controlled drone. Just about 7:30, I believe it was, somebody started pointing over a little farther to the west. We all turned our head. We looked over there and we saw an absolutely beautiful, what I remember as a metallic object, 200 yards away, roughly 100 feet above the ground. And it was sitting there, motionless, silent. But it was so streamlined and so aerodynamically shaped and so beautiful, and it was reflecting the morning sun.
The object made no sound, neither did the men watching.
We were all standing there with our mouths hanging open. The object began to bob a little more, and then all of a sudden it began to move away. And then, at an incredible rate of speed, it rose and flew out of sight. And then, of course, all of us being in the military, either military or civilian, we were sworn to secrecy. Most of us who were present that day assumed we had seen a high-tech U.S. Air Force or Army piece of technology up there. The fact that we were sworn to secrecy, the fact that we were all debriefed thoroughly, I was not to realize until later what we had really seen that morning. It was a UFO.
The ultimate UFO encounter was played out in the 70s on the movie screen. Though a commercial success, Close Encounters of the Third Kind didn't get us any closer to the truth. Interest in UFOs actually waned, mainly because of the lack of any evidence. Then, about a decade later, a sky full of evidence fell upon us. In 1987, a Swiss farmer named Billy Meyer released dozens of photos he claimed to have taken of UFOs. What's more, Meyer claimed dozens of contacts with extraterrestrials. A research team of UFO enthusiasts from the U.S. visited Meyer and interviewed him.
A person who came out of the disc.
Person came out?
Yeah. And when the person came out of the left side of the trees there, I have seen that it is a woman.
And you sat here and talked to her?
Yeah, then we was talking here for about 1 hour or 1 hour and a quarter, something like that.
Did she give you a name? What did you call her?
Yeah, she told me her name is Semyase.
Semyase?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this case has become intensely tangled up. For one thing, many people tried to figure out how Billy took the pictures, and so they made models of their own. And they pictures faked or representations of the saucers were put in Billy's hands and were part of his collection. Investigators would come to the farm, find these pictures among the, quote, valid Billy Meyer pictures, walk away with them, do the science, find the string, determine that one Billy Meyer picture is a hoax, and hence all of Billy Meyer's pictures are a hoax. And this logic doesn't necessarily hold. What you're looking for is the one Billy Meyer picture that you can prove is not a hoax. But we can tell you that this photo is of a craft as big as Billy said it was, as far away from the camera as Billy said it was, with no apparent means of aerodynamic support and of a solid object of some material and not a photographic fake.
The same year Meyer was shooting his film, a home builder named Ed Walters captured these images over a span of 6 months in the town of Gulf Breeze near Pensacola, Florida. Dr. Bruce Maccabee, an optical physicist formerly with the Office of Naval Intelligence, has analyzed Ed Walters' photographs and videotape.
The most important thing about Ed's July 21st video is the presence of a shadow of the UFO on the trees, the tree line on the other side of Santa Rosa Sound. And you can see when the UFO comes into the field of view from the left-hand side, moves over towards the right, reverses and goes back off to the left. At the same time the UFO is moving, you can see a darkening, a shadow that moves along the tree line over to the right, stops, and then moves back to the left again. And that is something that I don't think anyone has ever captured on video before.
It's his analysis, and it's been heavily criticized by others in the field because some of it doesn't add up, some of it does add up. They think it was models, and unfortunately models were found in Ed Walters' old house that generically conformed to the shape of some of the vehicles that were photographed. So here we go again with another case that could be, couldn't be, maybe. It seems like there's always some disinformation or misinformation involved, and the further one looks into the case, the more problematic it becomes, and like everything else in ufology, it ends with a big question mark.
It's this big question mark that keeps people searching. Is there any proof at all? Sifting through the legends, listening to the fables, the answer seems as obscure as the source of the Pharaoh's circle of fire. One thing is clear. Over the centuries, thousands of people from every corner of the globe have reported seeing things in the sky we can't explain away. Whether they're real or not, UFOs have become a part of our culture. Surveys indicate a majority of people are inclined to believe in them, even without scientific evidence. As we search for strange objects in the heavens, hoping to find the answers to so many questions, perhaps what we really see is ourselves.
I saw lights following my car, and they came down out of the sky in back of me. The next thing I remember is my car was literally ripped off the side of the road. I felt like I was going to crash, and it, like a giant hand, reached out and literally pulled my car off to the side of the road.
Making Contact, when UFOs and alien encounters returns on TLC.
Hi, I'm French Stewart from Third Rock, and for the latest on alien abductions and encounters, please watch Alien Invasion Week all week on TLC.
Hi, Chuck. Here's lunch.
Thanks.
How's business?
Not bad. Yours?
It's okay. Hey, what's that on your screen?
Oh, that?
QuickBooks accounting software from the makers of Quicken. I called a toll-free number and got a free trial version.
My system works fine for me.
That's what I thought. But if you have bills to pay or customers who owe you money, you really ought to try this.
Yeah, I really don't have time to learn new software.
Well, if you can write a check, you can use QuickBooks. Answer a few questions and it tailors itself to your business. Now I create invoices like these.
Yeah, but my business is so different from yours.
But that's what makes QuickBooks so great. It's the #1 software for any small business. It has accounts payable, accounts receivable, even payroll and inventory, and you never have to enter information twice. There's over 60 customizable reports that put you in control. Know if you're making or losing money.
Sounds pretty good. I'm gonna get that free trial version.
Nothing to lose.
Call 1-800-475-9733. That's 1-800-475-9733.
This beautiful little girl is Michelle. She lives overseas with her family in this horrible slum. Michelle must walk these rocky, filthy streets barefoot because her family is so poor they can't even afford a pair of shoes. Hello, I'm Walter Coppage for Children International. Please, call the number on your screen now. We'll send you this information kit absolutely free, without any obligation, with a photo and family history of a special little boy or girl who needs your love. In just a few days, your kit will arrive in the mail, and you can read all about your child, her health, her family, and living conditions. You can hold her picture in your hand and learn how you can change her life by giving her important things, like a simple pair of shoes. Then if you decide to become a sponsor, your monthly gift is only $12. Your $12 a month will provide medical care, clothing, food, a chance to go to school, and so much more. In return, you will receive the love of your child and the joy that comes from giving her a chance at a better life. Each year, you'll receive personal letters from your child and an updated photo. All this for just $12 a month. This affordable program is possible because we keep our costs low without sacrificing the care your child receives. If you could help change the entire course of this child's life for just $12 a month, wouldn't you? With Children International, you can. But remember, don't send any money now. Just call the number on your screen to request your free information kit. There is absolutely no obligation. Your love and support can do so much for one special child, like Michelle. Please, call now.
For free information on how to help a child like Michelle, call 1-800-481-3355. Operators are standing by. Find out how you can change one child's life with something as simple as a pair of shoes. That's 1-800-481-3355. Please, call now.
I'm sure there's other life out there.
You really think that there are flesh-covered beings with small heads living on other planets?
Alien Invasion Week, UFOs Above and Beyond, coming up next on TLC.
He says his wife disappeared, but detectives unravel a tangled tale of sex, lies, and DNA. Then a delightful day at a water park turns to terror and tragedy. Medical Detectives, followed by Without Warning, Thursday at 8 on TLC.
I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I never did. I don't even take aspirin. Whatever's coming out, whatever I'm remembering clearly. It was very dark, and I saw these 5 little characters, guys, whatever they were. Big heads, big eyes. They were kind of a putty, whitish, grayish color. They were humanoid, 2 legs, 2 arms. They laid me down, and I don't remember having my clothes removed or taking them off, but I didn't have any clothes on. And they did all sorts of experiments to me. When you look into the eyes of these creatures, it changes you forever.
The people you are watching come from various countries around the world. They are of different ages, cultures, religious beliefs, and professions. They all have one thing in common. They believe they've made contact with beings from other worlds. From the dawn of history, mankind has told stories of intelligent, non-human creatures with great powers. Creatures not of this earth. Historians have evidence through writings of Aristotle that the possibility of alien beings was discussed as early as the 5th century BC, making the topic about 2,500 years old. The consideration of alien life took a giant step forward in the 16th century when the world absorbed the discovery by the astronomer Copernicus that the Earth was not the center of the universe. If Earth was just another planet, perhaps other planets were just like Earth. Inspired by this breakthrough in astronomy, British scientist John Wilkins wrote The Discovery of a World in the Moon in 1638. In it, he described an imaginary trip to the moon, which included meeting human-like moon inhabitants. Here in America, 19th century astronomer Percival Lowell insisted that he saw man-made canals on Mars, evidence, he claimed, of intelligent life. Lacking proof that life exists among the stars, mankind has populated outer space with figments of its collective imagination.
It's a common human trait, and probably one of the most basic human traits is the fear of the unknown. So that when we encounter unknown space, whether it be oceans or outer space or deepest, darkest forests, we tend to inhabit those, at least in our mind, with, let's say, monsters or serpents or aliens or these supernatural beings who threaten us. In a sense, it reflects our own fear of these spaces.
The first American report of alien contact is believed to be the account of Colonel H.G. Shaw, detailed in an 1896 edition of the Stockton Evening Mail in California. Colonel Shaw claimed that he and a friend encountered 3 strange beings in the town of Lodi. They were about 7 feet tall, thin and hairless, but they looked like humans. Because they were extremely lightweight and weak, they failed in their attempt to pick up the 2 men and drag them into their airship. The story ends with Colonel Shaw's quote,
"There is no doubt in my mind that these creatures came from Mars and wanted to procure an inhabitant of Earth."
At the same time some men were seeing airships, others were actually trying to build them. Still others were writing fantastic tales of future flight. Jules Verne and H.G. Wells published stories about Martian invasions and undersea adventure, giving birth to a genre later known as science fiction.
A good number of the people who believe that they've been abducted have been influenced in some manner by science fiction. I think science fiction gives them the images to work with. I think that they believe sincerely that they have been abducted. But I don't understand why an alien, again, why would an alien come all this distance?
Encouraged by breakthroughs in science and flight, scientist Hugo Gernsback started the Amazing Stories series of books in the 1920s to spark youth interest in science. He wrote of trips to distant planets, human space heroes, and evil alien beings. Filmmakers quickly embraced this new genre, including a brilliant young artist who would bring aliens right into American living rooms.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's indescribable. I can hardly force myself to keep looking at it. It's so awful. Its eyes are black and they gleam like a serpent. The mouth is a kind of V-shaped with saliva dripping from its rimless lips.
In 1938, Orson Welles performed a live radio broadcast of The War of the Worlds. Thousands of Americans panicked when they thought they were hearing an actual news broadcast of a Martian invasion of New Jersey. With Germany on the march in Europe, many blamed the reaction on America's fear of invaders closer to home. In the years after the War of the Worlds broadcast, some people claim to have actually seen spaceships and met their inhabitants. They called themselves contactees and claimed that the aliens they met weren't marauding killers from Mars, but peaceful beings trying to save humanity. The most public of the contactees was a mystic named George Adamski. He not only claimed to have been visited by beings he called Space Brothers, he said they actually took him aboard their ship.
I was taken to the mothership and they were flown around, not too close to the moon, but with instruments. Similar, you might say, except it wasn't a camera, it was a regular sort of a telescopic instruments that we were able to see what was on the moon.
In 1952, Adamski showed photographs of scout craft from a Venusian mothership that bore an uncanny resemblance to chicken brooders available by mail order. While most ufologists acknowledge that Adamski either fabricated or garbled large parts of his stories, some believe the essence is true.
It's my belief that something at the core of the Adamski experience is correct. When we see motion picture film taken in Washington in 1965 and in the southeast of the United States in 1970, and still pictures taken in Italy and England and South America of craft essentially identical to what Adamski was talking about, we're forced to conclude that somewhere at the core of it, he did have some authentic experience.
Hi, Brent Stewart from Third Rock. Watch Alien Invasion Week all week on TLC.
Ford Explorer when no town's big enough for the both of you. Have you driven a Ford lately?
This beautiful little girl is Michelle. She lives overseas with her family in this horrible slum. Michelle must walk these rocky, filthy streets barefoot because her family is so poor they can't even afford a pair of shoes. Hello, I'm Walter Coppage for Children International. Please, call the number on your screen now. We'll send you this free, no-obligation information kit with the photo and family history of a little boy or girl who needs you. You'll learn how you can give one special child overseas, like Michelle, a pair of shoes, and so much more. Then if you decide to become a sponsor, your monthly gift is only $12. Your $12 will provide medical care, clothing, food, a chance to go to school, and more. But remember, there is no obligation, and the information kit is absolutely free. So please, call now.
Call 1-800-257-0200. That's 1-800-257-0200.
I'm sure there's other life out there.
You really think that there are flesh-covered beings with small heads living on other planets?
Alien Invasion Week, UFOs above and beyond, coming up next on TLC.
Do you want to make more money? Of course, we all do. So find out how easy it is to train at home for a better career. At ICS, more than 10 million men and women have trained for job promotions and new careers without ever setting foot inside a classroom. And now at home, in your spare time, you can get your career diploma or even your degree. Choose from any one of these courses: high school, computer programming, medical transcriptionist, medical office assistant, auto mechanics, animal care specialist, electrician, PC specialist, TV VCR repair, PC repair, legal assistant, private investigator, pharmacy technician, or get your degree. You can major in business management or accounting. Make this important call right now.
Call now for free information with no obligation. Then decide if you want to train at home for a better career to make more money. Call 1-800-427-0875. There's absolutely no obligation. Call 1-800-427-0875. That's 1-800-427-0875 for free career information. Call now.
In the late 1940s and throughout the 1950s, Europe buzzed with reports of UFO sightings and alien encounters, including blonde, human-like aliens spotted in Scandinavia.
Extraordinary beings visiting humans, with these beings having supernatural powers, coming from a distant place. These are the basic themes that you find in most myths.
In December 1954, several men from rural areas of Venezuela claimed to have had nighttime encounters with aliens. These aliens were described as small, hairy-clawed monsters who nearly dragged one victim into their spacecraft before he got away. Many of the stories of alien encounters describe rounded spacecraft with bright lights, yet three distinctive types of aliens emerge from them. The blondes are tall, attractive, and appear Nordic. The grays have smooth, hairless gray skin and look reptilian. Then there are the small, hairy, violent monsters, mostly reported in South America.
We don't know what's out there. We're sure that there's something out there, and so we create entities or beings to fill that space. And then, based on belief in their existence, it's natural then to believe in interaction with those beings.
Throughout the 1950s, around the world, contactees spoke of seeing aliens and meeting aliens. But in the 1960s, the stories took a new twist. On September 19, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill, a couple from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, said they believed they were kidnapped and taken aboard a UFO, that their memories of the entire incident had been wiped from their minds and could only be recalled with hypnosis. The Hill story became the basis for a best-selling book, Interrupted Journey, published in 1966. Believers maintain that the Hills' account inspired other abductees to come forward. Skeptics believe that their story set in motion a train of false reports.
I didn't remember this story until I underwent hypnosis. I saw lights following my car, and they came down out of the sky and back of me, and there was no sound. And it scared me to death. First I thought it was a helicopter or something. It almost looked like it was going to land on my car, and I speeded up. The next thing I remember is my car was literally ripped off the side of the road. I felt like I was going to crash, and it, like a giant hand reached out and literally pulled my car off to the side of the road.
Dr. William Cohn is a psychologist and critic of the use of hypnotism to recover memories.
We've known for at least 200 years now that hypnosis is a lousy tool to recover memory. The people that are doing the research believe otherwise. They think that hypnosis is an accurate tool that you can put somebody into a trance, dig into their unconscious, and recover memories accurately. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of research studies say otherwise. So that basically you have people that not understanding the tool they're using, misusing it, and perpetrating a myth on the people that they're working with.
It seemed really obvious while I was on the table that they were really interested in my nervous system and the mechanics of my body, how I actually worked. I was lying on my stomach, and I could literally feel a flap, like an incision being made, and my back being opened up. I could feel the picking. I don't know whether they were using some sort of a pick or a finger, but I could hear kind of a hard, almost like tapping on wood sort of feeling, and I could feel the vibration in my body. There was no pain. It was very obvious that they were poking at my spinal column. I think they were interested in how I worked, just mechanically.
But some abductees don't need hypnotism to remember their alien encounter. Colette Peters' memories of her abduction experience began when she was very young.
When I was approximately 5 years old, kindergarten age, I had a very unusual experience where I was in my bedroom in the evening after my parents had tucked me into bed, and I had three unusual beings that were about 3 feet tall approach the side of my bed, and the next thing I knew is that I was being raised up out of my bed through a beam of light, going through a closed window over the trees in my backyard. And I thought it was a really neat experience because I had the sensation of flying, and I was grabbing leaves and twigs off the tree on my way up at this beam of light. I found myself standing in a circular room on board a craft that was above me in the sky, and I was holding my father's hand, and there were these taller beings that had sort of gray, chalky white skin. They were about 5 feet tall with large slanted black eyes. And I observed my mother on a table where two beings were overlooking her.
Colette Peters' tale of her childhood abduction mirrors the vivid experience of many others. In 1983, to verify these stories, ufologists led by Bud Hopkins hired a psychologist to conduct 3 standard personality and psychology tests on 9 of the most credible abductees. Dr. Elizabeth Slater was not told until after making her conclusions about the patient's claims of alien abduction. Her findings included a slightly higher incidence of child sexual abuse. Further,
the group shared underlying emotional factors, including a degree of identity disturbance, some deficits in interpersonal sphere, and generally mild paranoid phenomena.
This study only provided another battleground for skeptics and believers. Skeptics felt this proved that abductees are disturbed individuals who channel their trauma into imagined abductions. Believers concluded that abductees would naturally be more disturbed than the average person.
Something happened to me. Psychiatrists know that for a fact. They're more sure of it than I am. What is it that happened to me that was so extraordinary? Just because I can't prove something happened to me, you can't prove that it didn't. I don't have the answer. I'm more frustrated about it than those people are, whoever those people are. It happened to me. It's not fun. This isn't something I asked for.
Abductions reported to psychologists, journalists, and hypnotists have become so prevalent that some of the more prominent professionals that deal with the phenomena organized the Abduction Study Conference held at MIT in 1992. One of the organizers was Harvard University psychiatrist Dr. John Mack, who was introduced to alien abduction phenomena in 1990.
John has said on many occasions that when people come into his office, they're completely unpredisposed to believe anything. Well, everyone coming into his office is there because they think they were abducted. The minute they go into his office, they're predisposed. The man is the world's most prominent abduction researcher. Why are they there?
As convincing as the claims made after hypnosis may seem, even if they are false memories, what is the explanation for those memories that are not the result of any hypnotic recovery method? Are they dreams or a real experience?
A tall being, which I'll refer to as the scientist, brought me into a room and showed me rows and rows of these little babies, hybrid babies. They were in very small containers, similar to shoe boxes, and each one, I could tell, looked similar to these beings and also half human. In my own opinion, I don't know why they're doing this. I would think that there are many different sorts of beings out there and they all have their own agendas.
Current abductee reports usually do not involve a simple kidnapping. Dozens report feeling small nodules beneath their skin, implanted tracking devices. Richard Price, who claimed that he was abducted several times since childhood, claims he discovered such a device implanted in his body. He brought it to Dr. David Pritchard, an MIT physicist and co-organizer of the MIT conference. In 1992, after lengthy, costly testing of the object, Dr. Pritchard concluded that the object was of terrestrial origin. No object has yet been taken from a human that has been certified non-terrestrial.
The aliens are very inconsiderate in their abductions because they traumatize human beings, they hurt human beings, they do horrible things to human beings. How inconsiderate of them. Then why are they so considerate to tuck them back in their beds? That makes no sense to me. If you're coming upon a planet as we would, and yes, I have to judge them as I judge myself and other humans, and we wanted to check out a human being, we'd take one, and we'd do whatever we want to it.
I remember coming down in the beam of blue light, liking the sensation of flying and grabbing leaves, waking up in my bed, and my bed was filled with evidence of immature leaves from the top of an 80-foot tree that was in my backyard, the leaves and twigs in my bed, and we could not account for it. I went to call my parents, and they were at first told me it was a dream, but then when they saw the leaves and twigs in the bed, they were baffled and very concerned. And to me, it seemed very real, like a real experience.
The actions of the stock market are complex and can confound. Even the most able investor struggles to make sense of it. But in rare moments, you can see what to do. The chaos becomes clarity, and then you act before the opportunity fades away. SureTrade, a comprehensive internet broker for independent investors.
MIB, Men in Black. You think it's just a movie? Dr. Herbert Hopkins wouldn't agree. He spent an evening with a man in black, and the encounter was stranger than anything Hollywood could invent.
I must go now. My energy is running low. Goodbye.
That's a true story, a glimpse of the hidden world around us, revealed in Mysteries of the Unknown.
The magnificently illustrated series from Time Life, yours to try risk-free.
In 1988, Ingo Swann was conducting a seminar when he predicted the Berlin Wall would fall in 18 to 24 months. 19 months later, the wall fell.
Your journey into the unknown starts with alien encounters for only $9.99.
Most people think UFO sightings began after World War II, but there's evidence of UFOs from the 1600s, and a wave of sightings swept across America from west to east in the late 1800s. And all along, tales of abduction.
The car coming to a complete halt, a cluster of men on the highway coming toward us.
Mysteries of the Unknown takes you into the facts and fiction of the hidden world around us. Examine it free. Satisfaction guaranteed.
There are places where amazing energies converge, people with powers that cannot be explained, and events that cannot be denied. Now you can uncover the truth of it all. That is, if you dare explore Mysteries of the Unknown.
Call now to enter this hidden world with alien encounters for only $9.99.
Discover the truth of what's in our skies and visiting our homes. It's waiting for you. Call now.
To order Mysteries of the Unknown, call 1-800-903-9494. That's 1-800-903-9494. Or send $9.99 plus $3.95 shipping to Mysteries of the Unknown, Department 2, Richmond, Virginia 23280.
I'm sure there's other life out there.
You really think that there are flesh-covered beings with small heads living on other planets?
Alien Invasion Week, UFOs above and beyond, coming up next on TLC.
He says his wife disappeared, but detectives unravel a tangled tale of sex, lies, and DNA. Then a delightful day at a water park turns to terror and tragedy. Medical detectives followed by Without Warning, Thursday at 8 on TLC.
This is what it is all about. Who wants another cold one?
On the screen, I want to see the game.
Sorry, fellas, there is no football this week.
What?
Now what are we gonna do? Abductions?
Done that.
Who's Area 51?
Again.
Check out Alien Invasion Week on TLC.
New investigations, new evidence.
TLC is really on the ball.
Alien Invasion Week, hosted by Third Rock's French Stewart, continues all week at 9 on TLC. New adventures for your mind.
As the number of abductees increases and the stories become more extreme, the question arises, why now? Some ufologists believe aliens have been visiting Earth for centuries and that early civilizations mistook them for angels or devils. Others claim that extraterrestrials walked the Earth before humans did. Eric von Daniken's 1971 book, Chariots of the Gods, suggested that ancient pictographs, sculptures, and paintings pointed to visits by extraterrestrials during the early development of humanity. For example, cave drawings in France, South America, and Africa depict men in spacesuit-type attire, including antenna-like spirals on their headgear. Many skeptics believe that so-called witnesses suffer from overactive imaginations, influenced by fictional portrayals of little green men in spacesuits. But what, von Daniken asked, fed the imaginations of ancient people? Where, in ages preceding flight, would they come up with the notion of landing strips? Skeptical historians say that von Daniken and his peers have taken liberties with ancient artwork. But what of the reports from today's abductees?
They describe waking up in their bed, eyes open, not being able to move, watching some beings walk in the room. Maybe they feel a weight on their chest or they feel themselves floated out of the room. That's a classic sleep paralysis episode. Hundreds of people throughout history have had that happen to them. I've had it happen to me 4 or 5 times in my life. It's very real, it's very frightening, and we really don't know what it is. But I don't think it's alien abduction.
Dr. Michael Shermer is a professor of science and technology at Occidental College in California and a founder of Skeptic magazine.
The alien abduction phenomenon and the UFO phenomenon is one of the most interesting to me because it's emblematic of a social movement, what sociologists call a moral panic, what historians call like a witch craze. It's one of these things that starts snowballing, and when it's driven by the mass media, where the information exchanged very quickly, you see it blossom, all on the flimsiest of evidence.
Modern reaction to the actual reports of alien contact has varied. It includes abject fear, hope for humanity's enlightenment, scientific curiosity, dismissive skepticism, and sheer amusement. While the debate goes on, the scientific community is working quietly to see if there might be life beyond Earth. At the 1996 meeting of the American Astronomical Society in San Antonio, scientists announced the discovery of several planets in distant galaxies that just might have the warm, watery conditions essential for life. Astronomy may be on the verge of discoveries as earth-shattering as those of Copernicus in the 16th century. NASA plans an ambitious 25-year program to search for other planetary systems, especially Earth-like planets that may be habitable.
The search for planets outside our own solar system, and for that matter, planets on which there is life, is a high priority in science and astronomy. There is a natural curiosity on the part of most people who become astronomers in this possibility of other worlds in space. It's in part why people become astronomers. They wonder about these mysteries of the cosmos, and they'd like to know. That curiosity, in fact, propels us to undertake research, to send probes out into space, to build instruments like the Hubble telescope that can see greater detail than we've ever seen before. So this is, in fact, a major theme in modern science, to look for other worlds in space and also to look for life in the universe besides our own.
Will we find other intelligent beings out there? If we do, will we discover that they found us first, as many claim? Or will we be the strange aliens who visit another planet's inhabitants?
Hi, Frank Stewart from High Above the Earth. You know, tomorrow when people ask you what you watched on TV, I know what you're going to do. You're going to go, oh yeah, I watched Ellen. But you know what? You will be lying, because what you really want to say is, I watched UFOs above and beyond. But you know, you'll figure, oh, it's just safer to say, oh yeah, I watched Ellen. Come on! Be bold, be brave, be a man, unless you're a woman. Besides, I can see your houses from here, and they are all tuned to TLC. Hi, Frank Stewart from Third Rock. You know, I'm not an alien, but I play one on TV, which is exactly why the good people at TLC have invited me to host Alien Invasion Week. Prepare to be astounded. That's Alien Invasion Week, all week, starting at 9.
They lurk among the stars and in our imaginations. They provoke us in their game of hide and seek and terrify us when they reveal themselves. Unidentified flying objects. 15 million Americans claim to have seen them. Hundreds declare they've been kidnapped by creatures from other worlds. Beings are no more than innocent cases of mistaken identity. But seeing is believing, and that explains why many believers have been taken in by charlatans and pranksters. Before you scream UFO, always take a closer look. Pictures like the following close encounters may leave you wondering exactly who's out there, above and beyond.
In the next hour, we'll examine the controversial evidence and theories that suggest we're not alone in the universe. If these theories prove to be true, the implications are staggering. In recent times, there have been more reported UFO sightings than ever before. For centuries, these crafts have remained a mystery until now. The footage you're about to see is a startling photographic account that sheds light on the greatest question of our century. Are we really alone?
What is up in the air? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? If you don't know what it is, then it's called an unidentified flying object, even if it's not a flying saucer. But even experts often mistakenly call a sighting an alien spacecraft. In fact, there's not a shred of conclusive physical evidence to prove that aliens have visited Earth. Instead, humans have only a history of sightings that defy explanation.
One of the least known aspects of the UFO phenomenon may be the most chilling. With today's sophisticated computer technology and special effects, it's possible to fake a picture or alter video. But this modern technology hasn't always existed. We've uncovered startling new evidence that suggests that mankind has been visited since the beginning of recorded history.
Our ancestors recorded the flying mysteries they witnessed with chisel, pen, and brush. Today, in the video age, everyone's a cameraman, able to capture or fake even the most unusual sightings.
Contact cases are by far the rarest type of UFO sighting. In these instances, a ship or a number of ships are repeatedly sighted by a single witness over an extended period of time.
In 1995, one Miami resident witnessed repeated sightings of a capricious glowing object, slightly swaying in the heavens. The vessel later appeared over the cameraman's backyard. Some experts say this particular nocturnal light sighting is one of the best ever captured on film. Skeptics pronounce the footage as nothing more than a trick of perspective. Shooting from high ground at night, the photographer could have mistaken an object floating in the sea nearby for something hanging in the air. But there's no mistaking the object's brilliant glow and rapid vanishing act. Now you see it, now you don't. Whatever it is, it has a mind of its own, passing behind buildings, darting out from the woods. The object accelerates and tries to race away. The amateur cameraman jumps in his car and gives chase. But the UFO adjusts its speed to that of the car, and the hunter becomes the hunted. Playing racing games with humans seems to be a favorite occupation of UFOs. But there are many times when they just feel like hanging around, close, but not close enough to determine what they really are. This object could be identified as a spacecraft or a log floating in the water. The cigar shape is often described in reports of UFO sightings, showing up in Germany, and even as far away as Russia. Since planes and jets have conquered the skies, these long, slow airships have become obsolete beyond the occasional promotional use. But when their hulks hover over large crowds, they often appear frightening, just like UFOs. At the right distance and in the right lighting, helium and hot air balloons can resemble flying saucers floating in the atmosphere. As the skies fill up with legitimate travelers, more and more unintentional imposters appear on the UFO watchers' most wanted list. From rubber weather balloons and recreational balloons to reflective high-tech satellites. About a third of all UFO sightings are actually heavenly bodies, such as planets, stars, and meteors. After a lonely flight through the cosmos, meteors crash toward Earth at speeds of up to 26 miles per second. As many as 200 million enter our atmosphere every day. Most meteors break apart miles above the Earth. Their blazing fragments slice through the sky and send a chill down our spines. These meteor remnants can cross our skies horizontally and even appear to fly in formation like a squadron of alien invaders. This scary alien ship was filmed in Australia. Funny how it also resembles the moon shot by a very unsteady camera. But the photographer insisted that the object's motion could not be duplicated by a man-made craft. Cynics suggest a sudden camera movement could easily have created this blurry trail. Since few have personal contact with aliens themselves, their ship's movements are watched for clues to their behavior. Small UFOs called probes appear to wait and watch back. A cylindrical probe was videotaped outside Las Vegas, Nevada, where it hovered for over 4 hours. The next day, the probe returned to cozy up to a web of power lines. Eyewitnesses described this probe as having its own searchlight. It lurked over the same area in Florida for 3 days. A similar object lingered over the city of Kobe, Japan. This footage was taken of a UFO scanning the coastline of central Florida. Its 2 sections rotated as if to monitor activities at the water's edge. This odd-shaped probe descends to the water's surface for an unknown reason, then seems to levitate again. An American civilian pilot coined the term flying saucer in 1947 when he encountered a formation of flying discs.
Hi, I'm French Stewart from Third Rock, and for the latest on alien abductions and encounters, please watch Alien Invasion Week all week on TLC.
Alien Invasion Week is sponsored in part by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
There are over 3 million people who count on Ford Taurus because Taurus has proven itself over 100 billion real-world miles and offers a Duratec engine built to go 100,000 miles before a tune-up. People have confidence in Taurus because it's designed for safety and quality. Hey, the reasons go on and on, just like the car. Ford Taurus.
When rollerblade demands hypersonic speed, when they require fanatical performance, when they crave unfathomable feats, they get it on a Dell computer. In fact, rollerblade uses Dell computers every day. What can we build yours to do? Call and for just $19.99 we'll build you this Dell Dimension XPS with a 233 MHz Intel Pentium 2 processor, 32 megs of SD RAM, 4.3 gig hard drive, Microsoft Windows 95 and Home Essentials 98, a large screen monitor, 32x max variable CD-ROM, even an AGP video card, and 24-hour tech support. The Dell Dimension XPS with a 233 MHz Intel Pentium 2 processor. Pure performance, just $19.99. Dell, what can we build yours to do?
We're obsessed with aliens.
That's a UFO.
New evidence keeps popping up. What's the real extraterrestrial deal?
There is indeed a cover-up.
We have documents, but they're classified.
Everybody loves a mystery.
Then, aliens invade Hollywood. From Flash Gordon to today's sci-fi blockbusters, aliens are mega movie stars. Alien Invasion Week tomorrow, beginning at 9 on TLC. New adventures for your mind.
Look closely. Can you tell the difference between these 2 contact lenses? They're the same prescription, the same brand name, but this lens cost 50% less and was delivered right to my front door. That's the Lens Express difference. Great savings and great service. Hi, I'm Linda Carter. I wear contact lenses, and I wouldn't trust these eyes to just anyone. I call Lens Express and get my replacement contacts delivered to me the very next day. It's terrific.
Call for this free Lens Express catalog. It's full of savings on contact lenses. All the top brands like AccuView, Ciba, Bausch & Lomb, Wesley Jessen. And because they're sent directly to you, you'll save up to 50% off the retail price.
I trust these baby blues to Lens Express. Look closely, and you'll see one very satisfied customer.
Now you can replace your contacts as often as your doctor recommends and save. Call for a free Lens Express catalog.
We now return to UFOs Above and Beyond on TLC. Of all the sightings of UFOs, most are of saucer-shaped objects. The reasons for this are as varied and sometimes as far-fetched as the stars in the sky. Renowned psychiatrist Carl Jung observed that the disc or mandala is a shape familiar to many cultures. He speculated that when people see them in the sky, they are expressing the human desire for transcendence and harmony. The age of the atom exploded in 1945. Science became at once awesome and infallible, the source of all answers, and the inspiration for the dawning age of UFOs.
The Air Force has officially analyzed the motives of possible visitors from space. Here is a direct quotation from the official report. Such a civilization...
Secret about UFOs, and to this day, Americans still think the authorities aren't coming clean. Recent surveys conclude that fully half of the American public believes in UFOs, and 71% believe that the U.S. government knows more about UFOs than they are telling us. Actually, in the years following World War II, the government didn't know much. Soon, it assigned itself a new mission: to learn more.
By the early 1950s, the public was fully aware of the growing UFO phenomenon. As the number of sightings increased, the government began more research. The alien craft represented a technological advantage, and if the government was to maintain the national security, they had to control the situation. But the number of sightings made the job impossible. The public demanded an explanation.
There have been a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. It is this group of observations that we now are attempting to resolve.
It was UFOs like this one filmed in Kentucky that fueled public alarm. The hundreds of sightings could be interpreted as a threat to humankind. The government tried to stifle news of UFO sightings at home, but reports poured in from abroad. Off the coast of the island of Trinidad, an official photographer in the Brazilian Navy took these amazing pictures. After analysis suggested that the craft was 120 feet wide, the Brazilian president presented the photographs to the world.
During the early 1950s, sightings were being reported in record numbers. The Air Force could barely handle the overwhelming volume of calls. If the government was to maintain secrecy, they would have to collect their own information firsthand.
The first government UFO tracking project began in the skies over Alaska. The Air Force installed cameras on customized reconnaissance planes to procure their own images of UFOs. Lieutenant Colonel Wendell Stevens took command of the project.
I remember one report where an object got in behind the trailing edge of the large wing and ahead of the smaller wing in the position, open position there, and remained for 2 or 3 minutes, and they got pictures with all of the movie cameras and the handheld cameras, including the 8x10 Fairchild camera. All of the data that was recorded by this special equipment, the cartridges, cassettes, rolls of film, and everything, after a mission with an encounter, was removed from the canisters and the equipment items and packed in a metal box and chained to an officer's wrist and flown to Washington that night. And this happened on a frequency of about 3 or 4 times a month for the whole year and a half that I was doing this in Alaska.
Washington's investigation of UFOs moved into high gear in July 1952. The New York Times reported formations of glowing objects over the U.S. Capitol. Radar operators clocked the UFO's speeds at up to 7,000 miles per hour. 1 week later, the objects returned. The Air Force claimed the sightings were caused by unusual weather patterns or a meteor shower, but the public demanded an investigation.
A special session was held in the Pentagon to deal with the situation. The result was a bold new program. Now the military's protocol focused on training and debunking or scientifically disproving the growing phenomenon.
The evaluations demanded new protocols. First priority was given to sightings witnessed by groups. Next on the list, sightings by 2 people in separate locations. Reports from just one person were usually ignored. But since the notorious Roswell incident, the public was skeptical about any government investigation. Official attempts to explain away the mysteries were perceived as the clumsiest kinds of cover-ups.
The expression flying saucers is a catch-all term for unusual lights appearing in the sky. It is possible that some of these lights are caused by masses of electrically charged particles of air.
Yet some of the sightings were clearly more than sparks flying. A secret Air Force memo dated January 1953 indirectly confirmed this. It stated that if reports of the UFO's speeds and maneuverability were accurate, then the technology had to be from another world. Back on planet Earth, the Air Force launched history's best-funded quest for scientific evidence of UFOs. The task force was called Project Blue Book.
Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Stacker was formerly the chief spokesman for the Air Force on the matter, and Major Hector Quintanilla is now the chief of Project Blue Book. Major Quintanilla, what are the objectives of Project Blue Book?
The objectives of the program are twofold. First of all, to try to determine if the UFO phenomenon presents a threat to the security of the United States. And second, to determine if the UFO phenomenon exhibits any technological advances which could be channeled into research and development.
There's nothing to hide.
There's nothing to hide.
Planets have been unintentional tricksters. But investigators didn't have to look outside Earth's atmosphere to find what they termed UFO imposters. The Aurora Borealis, or Northern Lights, was labeled one such culprit. But it's difficult to conceive how these breathtaking light shows could be mistaken for UFOs. Auroras can stretch hundreds of miles, forming arcs, thin rays, and even great balls of fire. Ball lightning and heat lightning arrive with violent weather. It's an impressive display full of sound and fury, but signifying nothing as far as a guise for an alien attack is concerned. So while Mother Nature has her flamboyant side, it has never been proven that she's responsible for all the strange goings-on up overhead.
There's nothing to hide.
There's nothing to hide at all.
That was not the prevailing opinion, or fact. In 1955, several knew about the CIA's own mystery in the sky. The U-2 spy plane's unusually wide wingspan allowed it to fly at heights beyond the reach of Soviet missiles, taking photos and eavesdropping on radio and radar transmissions. Francis Gary Powers was its most unlucky pilot. On May 1st, 1960, two military secrets were revealed to the world. First, that Russia had a high-altitude, radar-guided anti-aircraft missile, and second, that it had downed an American spy plane flying over its territory. Soviet Premier Khrushchev displayed the wrecked plane and captured pilot. The U.S. was forced into an embarrassing confession. Recently, the Air Force estimated that up to half of the UFO sightings in the 1950s could be attributed to the U-2 family of spy planes. There was no shortage of strange activity in the skies for a country that had nothing to hide.
10, 9,
Coming up, the space race pits America against the Soviets and places American astronauts in the past.
Hi, I'm French Stewart from Third Rock, and for the latest on alien abductions and encounters, please watch Alien Invasion Week all week on TLC.
Hi, Chuck. Here's lunch.
Thanks.
How's business?
Not bad. Yours?
It's okay. Hey, what's that on your screen?
Oh, that. QuickBooks accounting software from the makers of Quicken. I called a toll-free number and got a free trial version.
My system works fine for me.
That's what I thought. But if you have bills to pay or customers who owe you money, you really ought to try this.
Yeah, I really don't have time to learn new software.
Well, if you can write a check, you can use QuickBooks. Answer a few questions and it tailors itself to your business. Now I create invoices like these.
Yeah, but my business is so different from yours.
But that's what makes QuickBooks so great. It's the #1 software for any small business. It has accounts payable, accounts receivable, even payroll and inventory, and you never have to enter information twice. There's over 60 customizable reports that put you in control. Know if you're making or losing money.
Sounds pretty good. I'm going to get that free trial version.
Nothing to lose.
Call 1-800-475-9733. That's 1-800-475-9733.
Are you tired of struggling with hot wax and ingrown hairs? Then stop. Is razor stubble causing you to shave every day? Then stop. Introducing Apple Stop Plus with vitamin E, the amazing European system that not only removes unwanted hair, but actually stops it from growing back. Apple Stop is not a wax, but a natural vitamin E lotion that instantly and painlessly dissolves the entire hair, including the root. And Apple Stop Vitamin E Spray prevents hair from growing back while it nourishes your skin. For beautiful, hair-free legs you never have to shave again. We tested Apple Stop Plus against ordinary tweezing, shaving, depilatory cream, and hot wax. Look, Apple Stop Plus is faster, easier, and more effective than any of these products. It even works on tough facial hair. We used a razor on one side and Apple Stop Plus on the other. Days later, the side that used Apple Stop Plus is still smooth. Amazing!
I used Apple Stop Plus 4 months ago, and there's no more embarrassing facial hair.
I used Apple Stop Plus 3 months ago, and I can't believe it. My legs are still smooth.
Remove unwanted hair from your lip, underneath your arms, your legs, anywhere on your body in just minutes. Imagine a beautiful bikini line with no irritation, no ingrown hairs. Stop shaving, stop waxing, stop sugaring, and stop wasting money. With Apple Stop Plus, you'll never have to worry about unwanted hair again. Order now and get our smoothing thigh cream for hips, thighs, and stretch marks. A $20 value, yours free. We guarantee Apple Stop Plus is the fastest, easiest way to remove unwanted hair or your money back. But keep the thigh cream just for ordering. Lasting hair removal is only a phone call away. Order today.
Call toll-free 1-800-204-3399. Order your Apple Stop Plus for $29.95 plus shipping. If you're not completely satisfied with Apple Stop Plus, keep the thigh cream, a $20 value, as our gift. Call 1-800-204-3399. That's 1-800-204-3399.
Leap into the unknown. Search the universe for solutions. Push the limits. Science breaks the time barrier in the ultimate adventure. On Ultra Science, coming up next on TLC.
He says his wife disappeared, but detectives unravel a tangled tale of sex, lies, and DNA. Then a delightful day at a water park turns to terror and tragedy. Medical Detectives, followed by Without Warning, Thursday at 8 on TLC.
The height of the Cold War ushered in the space race. Suddenly, America found itself in a heated competition with Russia to put a man on the moon. America's attention was focused on NASA as space exploration became the nation's top priority.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
The flare.
Spacecraft under appearance.
NASA claims this is not Blaha's voice. Another shuttle mission filmed several meteor-like objects in high-altitude orbit, traveling at thousands of miles per hour. Shortly thereafter, NASA began scrambling all shuttle transmissions. NASA has dismissed all of its encounters as space debris, spatial anomalies, and tricks of light.
The turmoil in the 1960s diverted the public's attention away from the UFO phenomenon. Incidents like the Vietnam War and Watergate aided the government's debunking program. By the early 1970s, UFOs were no longer the topic of national interest. But despite the government's successful efforts, the sightings continued to increase in numbers.
UFO believers everywhere felt vindicated when they learned that a U.S. president had reported a UFO. While governor of Georgia, Jimmy Carter filed this 7-page report, stating he spotted a glowing object in the skies over his home state. Not long afterwards, President Reagan offered a room full of high school students this remarkable scenario for world peace.
Suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries.
The president repeated his version of United We Stand to the members of the United Nations General Assembly.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
President Reagan's speeches started the public asking questions again. The Cold War era created a defense industry based solely on high technology. As the stealth bombers rolled off the assembly line, rumors surfaced that the military was test flying recovered alien craft at a secret government base known as Area 51.
If ever a man-made vehicle resembled a UFO, it was the secret stealth fighter. Diamond-shaped with soft corners and a curved wingtip, the black plane looked otherworldly. The government denied stealth's existence until it participated in the 1989 invasion of Panama. Then the world learned the amazing truth. The plane is invisible to radar. UFO spotters who'd caught sight of the futuristic invader were disappointed to find out it was made in America, not on Mars. Nevertheless, they turned their attention to its proving grounds in the Badlands of Nevada, Area 51. Coming up, a nuclear physicist reveals his top-secret work at the world's most classified research facility. Next on TLC.
Hi, Brent Stewart from Third Rock. Watch Alien Invasion Week all week on TLC.
Ford Expedition, the only way to get there.
Genital herpes isn't just about worrying over future outbreaks. It's about suppressing them. And it's not only about waiting for an outbreak to begin treatment. It's about suppressing it ahead of time with Valtrex just once a day. Call this number to get product information for Valtrex and a free trial coupon. Remember, even if you don't have symptoms and are on suppressive therapy, it may be possible to spread herpes to others. There is no cure for genital herpes, and Valtrex may not prevent all recurrences. If your immune system is not normal because of advanced HIV disease, bone marrow, or kidney transplant, make sure your doctor knows this to avoid a potentially serious complication. In studies, the most common side effect was headache. See our ad in Life magazine. Don't wait. Call this number today and ask your doctor about Valtrex. It's about suppression.
Glaxo Welcome. Breakthrough medicines for everyday living.
Check out TLC Space Jocks.
Eyewitness accounts, cover-ups, new investigations, new evidence.
TLC is really on the ball.
Alien Invasion Week, hosted by Third Rock's French Stewart, continues all week at 9 on TLC. New adventures for your mind.
Hot homemade dumplings, delicious ravioli, mouth-watering desserts. It's easy to make with Tasty Press. Just place the dough or pastry sheet on Tasty Press. Spoon on filling, cover with a second sheet, roll and seal. It's fun, fast, and easy. Make raviolis, line with pasta dough. Fill with cheese and vegetables for a fresh vegetable ravioli. It's all right here in the Tasty Press recipe book. Create vegetable dumplings. Make German dumplings. Use low-fat dough with seafood for a low-cal dinner. Use packaged pie crust to make fruit pastry desserts. Order Tasty Press for $19.95 with pasta, dumpling, and dessert trays, rolling pin, and recipe book. Order now. We'll send you the rolling slicer. Slice through vegetables, dough, cheese, and more. Free with Tasty Press, only $19.95.
To order your Tasty Press trays and to receive the rolling slicer absolutely free, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-270-6200 or send check or money order to the address on your screen. Call 1-800-270-6200.
UFOs Above and Beyond now returns on TLC.
Now, former government employee and nuclear physicist Bob Lazar breaks his silence. In this extraordinary interview, he discusses his classified work at the military's top secret saucer research facility known as S4.
Bob Lazar's resume describes him as a physicist specializing in propulsion systems. But in 1989, he was hired by the military to figure out how to reactivate extraterrestrial spacecraft. According to Lazar, the military had not been testing alien vehicles at Area 51. Instead, the discs that many had sighted were actually being flown out of the most secret research facility in the world, S4.
The first disc I saw, I believe it was the second, or I think it was the third time I was up there. Upon seeing it, it struck me that, well, this explains all the UFO sightings. Not thinking that it was an extraterrestrial craft, that this must have been some advanced form of fighter that we've been working on for years, and people have just caught it being tested, so on and so forth. And it never even occurred to me, even though I was looking at an extraterrestrial vehicle, that this wasn't man-made. I give everything nicknames there. The one I worked on was kind of sleek looking, and I gave it the name the Sport Model. There was one that looked like a Jell-O mold. There was one that looked like a top hat. There was a disc that was turned up on its side, and it had a large projectile hole with the metal bent outwards on it. I can only surmise they were testing it to see if a projectile could penetrate it.
Lazar knew man-made propulsion vehicles, and he suspected these were totally different. Once he stepped inside the spacecraft, his feelings were confirmed.
It probably really hit me when I got inside the craft and looked around and began to understand how the craft was operated, and finally grasped the whole project as a whole, as what we were doing, the fact that we weren't building this thing, we were trying to find out how it was made. We were back engineering it. I only witnessed one test flight up close, officially. That I was just inside the hangar. The craft lifted off the ground, virtually noiseless, other than a small corona discharge on the bottom of the craft, indicating the presence of high voltage. That dissipated at about 30 feet, and it stood there completely silently, and moved over to the left and to the right, and sat back down. That was the entire test. This was quite a scientific feat, to lift something completely silently, under control, and perform a maneuver like that.
From deep inside the underground test facility, Lazar learned how these craft operate by studying their propulsion systems.
According to Lazar, the secret of the alien craft are ingenious devices he calls gravity amplifiers. Housed in metal tubes, the amplifiers create a gravitational pull in the direction they are aimed. The craft is not thrust forward as with conventional propulsion systems. Instead, it's pulled into a continuous gravity field. Even in horizontal flight, the spaceship moves as if it's going downhill, pulled by the force of gravity. The craft's speed is determined by the strength of the gravity field it generates. Nothing like a gravity amplifier has been developed on Earth. Yet Lazar insists that the technology accounts for the erratic flying styles of UFOs filmed around the world.
There's what they call Omicron configuration, where the craft is using one generator, or Delta configuration, where it's utilizing all three. Delta configuration would be for space travel. Essentially, the craft will tilt up on its side, focus the three gravity generators to a single point, and move through space that way. It's always chasing a little distortion. That's why they look goofy when they fly around at low speed. Gravity will vary somewhat, and you will get odd movements of the craft. So its low speed mode is kind of unstable for the most part. If you were going to see one of these crafts at night operating, it would appear really as a glowing ball, or just a bright light in the sky from a distance. Even close up, you'd see a glowing halo around it. What you're dealing with is a high energy source in essentially a gas atmosphere, oxygen, nitrogen. And when you apply enough energy to a gas molecule, they emit photons, they emit light. Before I was at S4, I was more or less one of the guys that thought, all these government conspiracy and UFO buffs and things like that were complete lunatics. Obviously, the ET craft do exist. Something had to build them, so there must be aliens. And since there are, and the craft are there must be some sort of factory and an entire civilization somewhere. And if in fact that is true, and it apparently is, then there must be others.
Some people are born believers in UFOs. Personal experience or intellectual exercise converts others. And then there are the ones who'll do anything to fuel their own or others' enthusiasm. Edward Billy Meyer is the eyewitness to over 100 UFO encounters, including one of the most famous yet controversial cases in history. On January 28, 1975, he had his first sighting in the Swiss countryside of Hinwell. A low-pitched hum turned his attention skyward, where a silver disc-shaped craft descended upon him. Billy's photograph of this ship became one of the first UFO pictures to be confirmed as authentic by optical computer enhancement. Metal obtained by Meyer during still another encounter was analyzed as intricately machined, cold-fused, and originating from a place other than Earth. Scientific verification of Meyer's statements has given him a near-cult status. Yet despite the hard physical evidence, skeptics maintain that the photos and footage are too good to be true. A recent investigation concluded that Meyer perfected techniques used by UFO pranksters for years. Meyer's spaceships were actually small-scale models. In some cases, they were suspended by cables. In others, he got the model in the shot by double-exposing the film. In this famous daylight shot, the graceful motion of the metallic disc is clear as two different cars drive beneath it. But investigators claim it's a model suspended by a thin line from a helium balloon. Unusual ground markings, or crop circles, are far easier to judge for their authenticity. Believers claim that aliens use these symbols to communicate with Earthlings. UFOs filmed near crop circles are said to confirm this conjecture. In this case, however, the pranksters outed themselves. Two English artists confessed to making these crop circles at night. In other countries, their colleagues in crop crime also came forward to demonstrate their technique. But not all of the crop circles have been claimed by their creators, perhaps because their makers are back in outer space. In January 1976, a silver ball flew next to a British Concorde cruising at subsonic speed. British Airways dismissed it as dirt in the camera lens. Experts claim that the vast majority of UFO sightings turn out to be natural or man-made phenomena. Less than 5% are hoaxes. The rest, no one, not even the experts, can explain.
Dark City. Rated R. Starts Friday, February 27th.
Leap into the unknown. Search the universe for solutions. Push the limits. Science breaks the time barrier in the ultimate adventure. On Ultra Science, coming up next on TLC.
He says his wife disappeared, but detectives unravel a tangled tale of sex, lies, and DNA. Then a delightful day at a water park turns to terror and tragedy. Medical Detectives, followed by Without Warning, Thursday at 8 on TLC.
We're obsessed with aliens.
That's a UFO.
New evidence keeps popping up. What's the real extraterrestrial deal?
There is indeed a cover-up.
We have documents, but they're classified.
Everybody loves a mystery.
Then, aliens invade Hollywood. From Flash Gordon to today's sci-fi blockbusters, aliens are mega movie stars. Alien Invasion Week tomorrow, beginning at 9 on TLC. New adventures for your mind.
To be a UFO spotter, one must understand the 5 official categories for sightings, named Close Encounters of the First through Fifth kinds. First encounters are the most common. This is when a UFO is observed within 150 yards. Only Hollywood knows what encounters 2 through 5 look like. The second kind represents situations where a UFO leaves a calling card, physical evidence, like when a spaceship burns the Earth. Less than 1% of sightings are of the third kind, made famous by the movie of that name. These are actual sightings of a UFO occupant. Finally, the rarest close encounters, the fourth kind, describes an abduction by an alien being or race. Communication with these beings is a close encounter of the fifth kind.
Who are you? A scientist, like yourself.
The best and rarest UFO reports occur when the mayor of Jalisco counseled his citizens to remain calm as there were no reports of injuries or damages caused by the alien craft. Comforting, but no explanation. This dramatic amateur video captured a metallic disc traveling through the clouds as it stopped in midair in reverse direction. No conventional aircraft flies like this. A UFO even stole the show at the Mexican Independence Day celebration. A military parade and precision flying commemorated the occasion. But as jets soared overhead, a metallic disc suddenly appeared. And when the jets tried to intercept the craft, it accelerated, leaving them in its wake. No one knows what unique appeal Mexico City held for those objects at that time. Meteorologists have stepped forward with another explanation: mirages. Mirages occur when strata of air of differing temperatures are sandwiched together. This is called a temperature inversion. The layers of air act something like a two-sided mirror. During an inversion, a ground observer may see the reflection of a remote object or light source. The object appears to be suspended in the sky. If the object is moving, its reflection also moves, sometimes erratically, like many UFOs. Airborne pilots can observe identical kinds of mirages. These are reflections of celestial objects, the moon or stars above the craft. To the pilot, the object appears to be below and seems to be trying to keep up with the airplane. Knowing this, take a second look at the Mexico City UFOs and draw your own conclusions. It's all a matter of perspective and personal interpretation. The visage of humankind to unsuspecting believers in otherworld beings. The graceful sweep of a metal disc and a scientific theory of how it's done is sufficient evidence for some. The personal commitment of one man has been known to sway people in the past. It's all a matter of perspective, to see unfamiliar events and objects with an unbiased vision, to learn what these objects are. There's no question that they are there.
In the last hour, we've shown you photographs, film clips, videotape, government files, and expert testimony documenting one of the greatest mysteries of our time. The evidence is overwhelming. From ancient artifacts to modern-day sightings, the evidence presents itself. Now, only you can decide. Are we really alone?
You know, they say that human beings age much more slowly in outer space. Well, I think it may even be reversing the aging process for me. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. You'll see photographs and home video from eyewitnesses. You will hear personal testimonies from abductees.
There is indeed a cover-up of information.
It's an hour of TV that's out of this world.
Everybody loves a mystery.
Tomorrow at 9. Stay tuned for Ultra Science Time Travel on TLC.
Leap into the unknown. Search the universe for solutions. Push the limits. Science breaks the time barrier in the ultimate adventure. On Ultra Science, coming up next on TLC.
Take the ultimate trip. A journey through time. Burst into the future. Leap into the past. Scientists thought it couldn't be done. But maybe they were wrong. Imagine the thrill of the ultimate adventure, a journey into the future. Or a tour of the past.
Think about it. You could go back billions of years and see the solar system form. You could see life begin on Earth. You could see the pyramids being built. You could visit the crucifixion.
It used to be considered pure fantasy. But remarkable developments in science are bringing us closer than ever to pushing through the barriers of time, leaping from one century to another, from anywhere to anywhen. It's something most scientists argued could never be done, but others clung to the dream and continued searching for ways to somehow, someday, break through the barrier of time.
It's a feedback between science fiction and science reality. Almost anything you can imagine in science fiction, it's starting to come true today.
One scientist claims he's already made music time travel, giving new hope that we too may one day take that journey. Every hour of every day, we push the limits of time and space. Racing the clock to break one record after another, testing ourselves against the seconds, the milliseconds, the femtoseconds. Experience tells us that time and space are linked to speed. For example, flying rather than driving from Los Angeles to New York cuts traveling time from days to hours, the increase in speed allowing more space to be crossed in less time. These air travelers may not know it, but they're about to take a voyage into the future. The faster they fly, the slower their watches tick compared to clocks on the ground. Even at these speeds, the difference amounts to no more than the tiniest fraction of a second. When they land, they have jumped imperceptibly forward in time. This phenomenon was predicted by Albert Einstein more than 80 years ago. His calculation showed that time flows more slowly for someone moving at high speed than for someone standing still. It's this relative difference in the flow of time that causes all airline passengers to jump fractionally forward into the future. This effect is called time dilation. It sounds truly strange, and the faster you go, the stranger it gets. Suppose there are identical twins, one called Ted and the other named Bob. Bob joins a very fast starship and zooms into space, leaving his brother on Earth. Because he's traveling so fast and clocks on the spaceship are recording time slowly relative to clocks back on Earth, Bob is stretching the age difference between himself and his twin. After a 2-year journey, this would be his calculation of how large that time gap had become.
I'm 2 years older, and my poor brother Ted has aged 140 years. It's as if you hopped in your almost at the speed of light spaceship when Benjamin Franklin was just a young boy. And now you're coming back after aging only 4 years, just barely in time for the turn of the millennium parties.
Solid rocket ignition and liftoff. Liftoff of Columbia on a voyage to the future.
Because spacecraft travel much faster than passenger planes, the time dilation effect is greater. For example, astronauts on board the space shuttle orbit the Earth at more than 17,000 miles an hour. If they were to stay in space for a full year, when they returned home, they would have jumped 3.8 seconds into the future in Earth time. Much faster travel would cause them to jump much further ahead. But if going forward in time is as simple as building faster spacecraft, why aren't we designing them now? The fact is, in order to gain any big jump on time, we'd need to travel thousands of times faster than even our fastest spacecraft can carry us. If the shuttle could travel 4,000 times quicker, astronauts could leap more than 60,000 years forward in time. NASA already has super-fast rockets on the drawing board, but the most powerful will still only drive us at 25 miles a second, nowhere near fast enough to make a big jump into the future. Despite the difficulties we may face in trying to achieve ultra-high speeds, physicist Dr. Jack Sarfati believes we must take up the challenge.
So let's do it. Let's get ready. The monolith is here. It's all. Let's get ready for the big trip into the 21st century and out into space. Let's make Star Trek real.
This TLC program is sponsored in part by Chrysler.
It is 180 degrees from expected. It is a leather-trimmed interior, and now it ties as J.D. Power and Associates' most appealing minivan, the new Chrysler Town & Country LXi, built on the belief that great cars appeal to a more passionate side. And now it's available with $1,000 cash back or a very special low lease rate. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
I need more people out here. This is a big bird.
35,000 cubic feet of storage space, room for 6 city buses. The Condor is the world's largest cargo plane, yet it's nothing compared to the unlimited capacity you get with this amazing drive. The Zip built in. Get one in your next computer from iOmega.
Hey, you need a hand with that?
Get away.
What does seaweed have to do with Einstein? What do diamonds have to do with flak jackets? Why does the Smithsonian owe its existence to poison ivy?
A subject you've waited all your life to know about. I know.
James Burke knows all the answers and puts them all together for you in Connections 3, a brand new installment of his award-winning Connections series, now available on home video from the Learning Channel.
This is what life in the 21st century is going to be all about.
Connections 3 brings the most unrelated events, inventions, and individuals together in a way that makes sense like you've never seen before.
So I won't make light of it.
Connections 3, the entire brand new 3-video collection, is yours for only $39.95. Get ready to change the way you look at the world around you.
Bingo!
Use your credit card and call 1-800-686-7997 to order your 3-video set of Connections 3 for just $39.95 or send payment to the address on your screen. That's 1-800-686-7997.
TLC slips undercover. Then, you never know when disaster will strike. Without warning, after Medical Detectives, Thursdays beginning at 8 on TLC.
This airplane and this pilot
are about to be the first ever to fly faster than the speed of sound in level flight.
50 years ago, American pilot Chuck Yeager became the first person to fly faster than the speed of sound.
The really big moment.
Yeager proved that the sound barrier was not a physical limit, merely an imaginary one.
Smithsonian Institution.
But beyond the sound barrier is a theoretically unbeatable barrier, the light barrier. And this is where things get really weird. If we move faster and closer to the speed of light, we jump further forward in time. But if we could somehow travel faster than the speed of light, then in theory, we'd go backwards in time. One way to look at it is this. Imagine traveling as fast as a speeding bullet. As we accelerate to catch up with the bullet, time dilation would begin to occur. But when we reach the same speed as the bullet itself, it would seem to stop in midair, because time is flowing at the same rate for it and us. If we could eventually overtake the speed of light itself, then time would flow backwards. The world would become a mysterious place as everything went into reverse. But the laws of physics say we can never travel faster than the speed of light. However, there may be scientific loopholes that would still allow us to travel back in time. Just imagine what the ultimate time machine may look like. We used to think in terms of cogs and flywheels. A kind of industrial insect that would spin and flutter through time. But a modern vehicle that carries us away from the present might simply look like this: a room, a chair, where the traveler could sit in comfort and nominate the day, the hour, the minute they wish to visit. Streaking through the ages, they would plunge into a world that once was, flipping through the centuries as one might flip through the pages of a history book. To achieve the dream of traveling back through time, we're going to need to develop some powerful technologies. But super-fast starships will never be enough. Science has warned us that even the fastest spacecraft still couldn't cross the light barrier. That's because when we gain speed, we gain mass. More mass means an increase in the force of gravity. At the speed of light, 186,000 miles a second, we'd be crushed by gravitational forces before we could ever make it through the light barrier. But one loophole scientists have identified may provide a way around that problem. They're called wormholes. Wormholes are natural pathways that bypass space and time. By jumping through them, long journeys would become split-second hops, the wormholes eliminating the distance and time separating our departure and arrival points.
Go in one end, you come out the other. To an outside observer, it looks like you went faster than the speed of light. You're not torn apart by horrendous gravity fields. It doesn't take forever for you to travel through the wormhole.
It's the concept behind fictional technologies featured in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Starships zap through wormholes from one part of the universe to another. all without harming anyone on board with the deadly gravitational stresses of faster-than-light travel.
We can only go so fast, so far. With the wormhole, that it's instant gratification. And we are, after all, a culture that needs instant gratification. So it's like you can get there where you thought you'd never go, to a place you thought you'd never see. Not only can you get there, but you can get there in a heartbeat.
We already know that wormholes exist in the so-called foam of the subatomic world. But their openings are billions and billions of times smaller than the width of an atom. Even so, turning microscopic wormholes into highways to the past is theoretically possible.
The laws of physics, as best we know them, don't forbid us from traveling back into the past. And when the laws of physics don't forbid something, and we want to do it, then we usually end up doing it.
For centuries, people had been writing science fiction stories about traveling to the moon. I mean, for thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, in July of 1969, when Neil Armstrong took his first small step, all those stories were no longer science fiction. They were historical novels. As if by magic, fantasy had become true.
The very thought of you, and I forget to do the little ordinary things that everyone ought to do. It's just the thought of you, the very thought of you, my
No card, no present, not even a happy birthday.
With technology from Intel, you can snap a picture, record a message, and send it to anyone with an email address.
I get him golf clubs for his birthday. What did he give me? Nothing. Zilch, zero, nada.
Happy birthday, Lise. Get ready for the most romantic evening of your life.
Oops.
What it is all about.
Who wants another cold one?
On the screen, I want to see the game.
Sorry, fellas, there is no football this week.
What? Now what are we gonna do? Abductions? Done that.
Cruise Area 51? Again.
Check out Alien Invasion Week on TLC.
New investigations, new evidence.
TLC is really on the ball.
Alien Invasion Week, hosted by Third Rock's French Stewart, continues all week at 9 on TLC. New adventures for your mind.
To accomplish everything you need to do on the ground, often you have to spend time in the sky. Now, what you do both places can help you get where you really want to go. Introducing the Delta Sky Miles credit card from American Express, giving you American Express service on the ground and Delta Airlines service in the sky.
You can apply now. Just call 1-800-492-1600.
With the Delta Sky Miles credit card, every dollar you spend gets you a Delta Sky Mile. And when you buy your Delta ticket with it, you gain even faster. You get 1.5 Sky Miles for every dollar you spend. Plus, you receive 5,000 bonus Sky Miles automatically with the card. And when you apply now, you'll benefit from this low introductory rate.
Call 1-800-492-1600. We can take all the information in just a few minutes.
Call today. The sooner you get the Delta Sky Miles credit card, the sooner you can get someplace you really want to go.
Could it be that one day, starships like this will be driven from fantasy to reality by technologies that allow us to generate controllable wormholes and cheat space and time?
Now, it may be an engineering monstrosity to come up with fields and matter and energies that actually make it happen, but they're theoretically possible. Someone, somewhere, someday may make it happen.
Our challenge now, to boldly go where no scientist has gone before, to find ways to make such concepts a reality. we can only imagine how time travel would change our lives. In theory, we could jump into tomorrow and take a cruise through the streets of Las Vegas, then turn back the clock and return to today with an inside knowledge that could win every gambling game in town. Just imagine having the knowledge of what Hitler was going to do and having the ability to warn the world or even to remove the Führer before he got into power. But tempting as it may seem to play hero in the past, there is a catch. It's called the grandfather paradox, a riddle so perplexing that some scientists believe it proves we'll never be able to travel into the past. If a time traveler were to go back in time and kill his grandfather before the grandfather had children, wouldn't that mean that he would never have been born and therefore couldn't have traveled back in time to pull the trigger in the first place? If the problem sounds mind-boggling, then one possible solution may seem even more bizarre.
If you were to travel back in time and change something, you would necessarily end up in another universe, a parallel universe. And there'd be no way of getting back to the universe you started in. You'd be trapped.
Oxford University physicist David Deutsch believes that's nature's way of making sure time travelers can't interfere with what's already occurred in history, however ugly that may be. He calls it the multi-universe theory. It offers another loophole, a solution to the grandfather paradox. Deutsch believes there can be unlimited replicas of the world as we know it, all of them with potentially different historical outcomes. According to the theory, when we travel back in time, we enter another universe. That universe looks the same as ours, but it follows a different route through history simply because we've entered it and therefore changed it.
For instance, you could go back in time and meet another copy of yourself, a copy who didn't travel in time. And then the two of you would be there in the universe that you'd arrived in, but you'd be missing from the universe that you left.
In other words, in some universes, there could be a number of copies of the same person, while in others, there'd be no evidence that person had ever existed at all. Could that mean there are time travelers here now, in our world? Visitors from the future who've been trapped in their travels through history? Some scientists believe such visits may have been crucial to our very existence.
In fact, the very origin of life on this planet may have happened because of time travelers from our future who seeded the early Earth with the DNA molecules and the other molecules needed to form life.
If that's true, if anyone or anything has manipulated history by traveling back from the future or leaping into our universe from another, scientists can only speculate about how their time machines may have worked. Did they use the wormholes we're looking at for our ventures into time? Or have they mastered another way to beat the speed of light?
Some decisions are harder than others. The Chrysler Sebring LXi Coupe or the Sebring Limited Convertible. For the passionate side, fully independent suspension, speed-sensitive steering, multi-valve V6, and a luxurious leather-trimmed interior. The practical side, lease the convertible from just $299 a month. And on the coupe, get $1,000 cash back and luxurious leather at no charge. Some decisions are easier than others. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
New file, begin dictation.
Who are you talking to?
My computer.
I do that too sometimes.
No, you don't understand. I got this new software. I talk, it types.
You talk, it types?
I talk, it types.
It's typing.
Because I'm talking.
What does it type?
Whatever I say.
So let me try.
No.
Why?
Because it's mine. Get your own.
Now when I talk, it types.
He says his wife disappeared, but detectives unravel a tangled tale of sex, lies, and DNA. Then a delightful day at a water park turns to terror and tragedy. Medical Detectives, followed by Without Warning, Thursday at 8 on TLC.
TLC brings you 7 nights of alien adventures that are out of this world.
The next thing I felt was this most incredible pain.
Is she for real? For the latest on abductions and cover-ups, watch Alien Invasion Week. Continues all week at 9 on TLC.
Professor Gunther Nimms has stunned the world of physics. In his laboratory at the University of Cologne in Germany, he has broken the ultimate speed limit, the speed of light. The first hurdle in the race to travel through time. Professor Nimms achieved it thanks to a curious phenomenon known as quantum tunneling. It's another loophole in the laws which govern the universe. One which allows particles of light to somehow sidestep the barriers of time and space. Nimms's triumph lies in getting those light particles to carry information. He encodes music onto a laser beam and points it at a barrier. When the light particles, or photons, arrive at the other side, the music they carry can still be decoded and played. Nimms claims he has sent music in this way at almost 5 times the speed of light.
We were extremely embarrassed when we saw this on a Sunday morning, that our signals are moving faster than the velocity of light, and we went to some colleagues, to 2 colleagues from the statistical department, and showed it to them, and they were also excited by this result.
The question now is, how far can these findings take us? And what types of information could we send? If only we could send ourselves in place of music, then we too could overcome time. In San Francisco, physicist Dr. Jack Sarfati wants to turn the whole idea around. Rather than taking our bodies to times and places we want to experience, he believes the first way we'll achieve time travel will be by bringing information from other times and places to us.
We have to really understand what mind and consciousness is as a physical phenomenon before we can even think of traveling through time, before we can even think of building warp drive starships to get there bodily.
Dr. Sarfati believes the means of understanding consciousness and achieving time travel will come from a computer chip modeled on human brain cells. He calls it the Q-chip and says it would be conscious just like a human being.
Devices using Q-chips would be time machines in the sense that interface with the human brain. You'd be able to experience information from other times, other places.
Dr. Sarfati believes that with the power of the Q-chip, we could select destinations for virtual visits as easily as we now change channels on our television set.
It's going to be like virtual reality, but so good that you can't distinguish it from real reality.
Through the Q-chip, we could communicate telepathically with any mind from the past or the future, even our own. There would be no need for our bodies to travel. We'd have a solution to the parallel universe dilemma that leaves time travelers trapped, body and soul, with a one-way ticket in the world they've come to visit. There'd be no risk of the crushing gravity of light speed travel. Time travel may still sound like an impossible dream. But if, as David Deutsch says, the laws of physics don't forbid it, then maybe we can develop the means to turn that dream into a reality. It may come by engineering wormholes, navigating parallel universes, or traversing history with a Q-chip. Either way, science says that we may, one day, have the choice to jump through that gateway.
It's going to take us to the stars. We're going to make Star Trek real. So, I mean, this is, to me, this is certainly a positive, optimistic vision for the 21st century. Let's start doing it, you know?
It ravages our coastlines, sends our weather spinning. But there's still a lot we don't know about El Nino. On an all-new episode of SeaTech. Then, Alien Invasion Week continues. Coming up from TLC.
Journey to dangerous depths. Unlock the mysteries of the deep with the latest technology. It's adventure on the high seas on SeaTech. Coming up next on TLC.
A submarine rams through solid ice.
Heads up, heads up, heads up.
Travel to the Arctic, where Navy crewmen and civilian scientists battle for their lives. Welding underwater. See how oil rig divers are threatened by approaching waterspouts. Personal submersibles. Meet an inventor whose vessel flies through the ocean. These adventures next on SeaTech.
Hurry up. 8 feet vertical descent rate.
In the desolate Arctic Ocean, the crew of the nuclear-powered fast attack submarine USS Pogey shatters through a layer of polar ice.
We're through the ice. Through the ice. You're through. 6 up. 7 up. 3900. 8 up.
The maneuver is successful, but crushing through 4 feet of solid ice can be an invitation for disaster.
Heads up, heads up, heads up.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. The thing is we can't get the hatch shut.
Once out onto the ice, crew members are stranded when, in less than 30 seconds, thick polar ice floes shift and move over the sub.
Get that one that's coming off the backside of the hatch.
But the crew of the Pogey has taken this risk to give scientists an unparalleled opportunity to research the mostly unknown Arctic Ocean.
Our knowledge level on the Arctic is about where it was in, say, the 1940s or 1950s.
Jeff Gossett, head of operations of the Navy's Arctic Submarine Laboratory, will lead a research team that will collect vital information about how the Arctic affects the rest of the planet. The group of civilian scientists will gather data for SciSex, the Submarine Arctic Science Expedition. It's jointly funded by the National Science Foundation and the U.S. Navy. But before the Pogey can embark from its San Diego port, the nuclear sub must be converted from a war machine into a research laboratory.
The only place on a submarine that you can remove equipment from in order to make laboratory space available to the scientists is in the torpedo room.
The compartment that usually houses 24 torpedoes is converted into a science lab, complete with computers and water analysis equipment.
That was a pretty good idea for the Navy to take civilian scientists up to the Arctic.
Navy Commander Jim Riley will guide the Pogey on its Arctic journey. Other research vessels could not navigate the treacherous passageways through the Bering Strait and onto the North Pole.
The submarine could go anywhere, even deep into the Arctic.
Surface vessels, called icebreakers, labor around the edge of the floes, slowly chipping off edges of ice until they carve out a landing spot. In contrast, the Pogey will travel under the ice, getting to locations icebreakers could never reach. The Pogey dives or rises by changing the angle of the steering fins on its conning tower. They're called fairwater dive planes.
And as you pull back on the stick, then the fairwater planes will slowly go up.
Sonar devices are also located on the Pogey's tower and deck. Commander Riley will use the sonar to find the best spot to break through the ice. The ice pack can measure as thick as 25 feet, but the perfect breakthrough thickness is 4 feet, thin enough for the Pogey to break through, yet thick enough to support the 2,000 pounds of research equipment the scientists will use on the surface. On a warm, late summer day, the expedition leaves San Diego on its 6,000-mile journey to the North Pole. The Pogi arrives under Arctic ice on day 19. Scientists, led by Ray Sombrato, ready their equipment.
We just entered the sample area about an hour ago, and we're preparing to make the first samples.
The scope of the research agenda is huge, from mapping the ocean floor to measuring the movement of the enormous Arctic ice pack. Also, hundreds of water samples will be tested for traces of pollution. For the studies on the surface, the Pogi will need to break through the ice. The crew finds the ideal 4-foot-thick section.
Hovering and preparing to vertical surface.
Surfacing is an exact science. Daylight hours are short this time of year, and moving ice flows are extremely dangerous.
160, 3.5 up, 12 feet per minute vertical ascent rate.
As they ascend, the Pogi crew releases water from the sub's ballast tank. This enables the sub to reach the breakthrough speed of 30 feet per minute.
30 feet per minute vertical ascent rate.
They stand by, ready to break through the solid ice above them.
We're through the ice.
Through the ice. Get through. React.
Now the researchers face the Arctic weather, 40-knot winds and temperatures well below zero.
I heard it's cold, very, very cold.
Armed crew members watch for polar bears as scientists measure Arctic particle pollution. Traps are lowered 10,000 feet to capture amphipods. Analysis of these tiny shrimp-like creatures will determine the pollution levels in the water. Research is suddenly interrupted by a phenomenon called an ice attack. Huge 20 to 30-foot chunks of ice, 2 feet thick, shift and move over the open submarine hatch.
Walkie-talkie, who needs it? Look out below! Heads up, heads up, heads up.
Chunks of ice crash down into the ship.
We got people up topside, we got equipment up topside, and we can't get the hatch clear to get the stuff down and shut the hatch to stop this stuff from coming inside the ship.
10 men are on the surface, locked out of the sub. The rest of the crew is trapped below. The captain orders water to be pumped from the ballast tank, lifting the sub even higher out of the water.
I know you guys want to see me. I'm gonna try to get this.
Quickly, ice chunks are relayed down through the hatch and melted in the showers and sinks.
Let's go. Go to the shower. Put in the showers.
After 20 harrowing minutes, the crew maneuvers the sub clear of the ice attack. The crisis over, the researchers continue their mission. The expedition spends 49 days in the Arctic Circle. After surviving a near catastrophe, they achieve the most detailed scientific survey of the Arctic to date. A month and a half under the Arctic ice pack has made for some tense moments, but the expedition has also provided personal rewards.
I guess I'll remember the incredible
all the underwater welding repairs as quick.
Not too bad.
Once into repair site. It's a profession fraught with danger. But the divers on this particular job take great comfort in knowing the man in charge of their safety here in the world of underwater welding.
Okay, on the blueprints, we're working in this area right here.
Greg Kane became a commercial diver at the age of 24. Today, he lends his experience topside, taking full responsibility for the diver's safety. The divers are tethered to umbilical cords. These provide their air supply
Emergency air bottle here.
and allow for communication with Kane topside.
It's a very unique job. It's more a mental strain on people, and it's more a strain on their families.
100 feet below, the men alternate tasks. One videotapes for safety while the other works. Kane monitors their every move in a room they call the dive control van.
The dive control van is the hub of a diving job. Everything that goes on in the water, every decision that's made is made right there in the dive van.
Kane is in constant voice contact with the two divers.
Okay, I'll turn your volume up a little bit on your radio.
He also carefully monitors their depth and air gauges. The water pressure at 100 feet subjects the divers to a blood condition called nitrogen narcosis. Also known as rapture of the deep, it can impair thinking and judgment.
Okay, Johnny, can you hear me all right? Go ahead and go to work.
Under Kane's vigilant watch, the divers work 8-hour shifts.
You actually know your neighbors. Recreation vehicles. Wherever you go, you're always at home. Today for a free video or visit an RV dealer near you.
You know, if you rearrange the letters in Alien Encounters, you get clone a neon serial unit. It's spooky, but it's true. Stay tuned for UFOs and Alien Encounters, next on TLC.
He says his wife disappeared, but detectives unravel a tangled tale of sex, lies, and DNA. Then a delightful day at a water park turns to terror and tragedy. Medical detectives followed by Without Warning, Thursday at 8 on TLC.
A torpedo-shaped vessel is lifted into the air and readied for launching. Inside this acrylic and fiberglass cocoon, a man prepares to be submerged.
How much water do I have underneath me? Anybody know?
Inventor and test pilot Graham Hawkes is out to make oceaneering history in the waters of Monterey Bay, California. These are the first sea trials of a revolutionary submersible called Deep Flight. More fighter jet than submarine, Graham's invention flies through the ocean like a dolphin or fish.
We want to go faster, and so the things we're building look like very advanced underwater fighter aircraft.
Yeehaw!
If anyone could create a breakthrough submersible, it's Graham Hawkes.
I feel like I'm back down to 3,000 feet like that. It's ridiculous.
For more than 2 decades, his underwater vehicles have led the way in ocean exploration. His creations have been everywhere, from robotically controlled vehicles exploring under the Antarctic ice cap, to Deep Rover, the first submarine helicopter, which still holds the record for deepest solo ocean dive at 3,000 feet below the surface. But Graham wants more.
In order to go further and faster, we've had to abandon the conventional ways of building submersibles and come up with much smaller, streamlined, faster craft.
Through his company, Hawkes Ocean Technologies, Graham is building a new generation of subs. Among his new creations is a fast, agile underwater speedboat called Wet Flight. Piloted by a diver with scuba equipment, it can go as deep as 150 feet. With the ability to dive and bank, Graham sees it as an ideal platform for underwater cinematography.
It was really built to go down and fly with big animals, move very fast through the water.
Graham's ultimate goal is to personally explore the deepest reaches of the ocean. But for personal submersibles to reach that frontier and still carry enough air to explore it, they must travel faster. Graham believes his sub needs to descend at 600 feet per minute. This will allow him to have maximum bottom time while exploring the ocean floor. To design such a craft, Graham finds inspiration in such sea animals as sharks, which are built for speed. He puts the pilot horizontal to make the submersible streamlined like a fish.
We're constrained by the same set of physical laws that govern sharks and dolphins moving fast through the water. They all have low frontal area, and their bodies are stretched out behind, just the same as an airplane.
To duplicate an aircraft's ability to dive, roll, and bank, Graham gives his sub wings and even jet-like joystick controls.
The right-hand thumb here controls the wings. A little bit of pressure there, the wings will put it down, fly back up. The left-hand thumb controls the thrust. A little bit of force there and the whole thing pushes forward.
Forward movement is provided by 2 thrusters at the rear of the craft. Turbines draw water in through gill slits and eject it out the tail. The resulting thrust from the water drives the craft forward. Graham calls this design Deep Flight. It's a 14-foot-long, 26-inch diameter submersible. After 8 years of work, Deep Flight is ready to have its wings tested. In the waters of Monterey Bay, Graham prepares to fly. The hatch is closed. The waiting is finally over. Deep flight is carefully lowered into the water. The clear plastic cockpit gives Graham a 180-degree view. An overhead camera records his reactions inside the air-conditioned chamber.
Yeah, I have a seal, Howard. We have a seal, so we're clear to come off the hook.
Deep flight is towed to the test area. The craft is then released to fly on its own. Graham puts the submersible through a series of maneuvers in the bay's murky waters.
You realize you've built a freedom for yourself to move through the water. If this is a machine that I climb inside, seal myself into, and now I have 700 pounds of thrust at the command of a nerve in the end of my thumb.
The thrust button allows Graham to both dive and surface.
I was doing a thrust test, and I found myself vertically looking up at the surface, and then this little thought goes through your mind, what happens if I just give it full thrust?
Coming up, sunlight coming in. Jeez! Wow.
The sub's maneuverability even surprises its pilot and far surpasses that of any of Graham's previous vessels.
Oh yes, this thing flies. It's beautiful. It's easy.
The successful tests of deep flight and wet flight have Graham Hawkes closing in on his dream to fly underwater. Soon, his personal submersibles may allow us to speed into the vast, unexplored regions of our deepest oceans.
As TLC continues Alien Invasion Week, be here as unbelievable events leave skeptics and believers looking for the truth. It's UFOs and alien encounters coming up next.
Hi, Fred Stewart from Third Rock. You know, I'm not an alien, but I play one on TV, which is exactly why the good people at TLC have invited me to host Alien Invasion Week. Prepare to be astounded. That's Alien Invasion Week, all week, starting at 9.
Houston, while you're looking at Orion, we're getting a pretty tremendous light show. We're looking at the lightning on the Earth.
On September 5th, by Affleck.
On the cusp of the new millennium, an eerie anxiety permeates our culture regarding the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Surveys show that 1/3 of all Americans believe in UFOs. Nearly 5 million claim they have encountered alien beings. Scientists remind us that these fantastic sightings are unconfirmed and unconfirmable. Skeptics insist that the people who make these claims are either deluded or they're exploiting the controversy for personal gain. And yet, the people who say they've had these experiences remain loyal to their stories. Stories which capture our attention and reflect a deep hunger to believe that we are not alone. In rural Kentucky, a man recalls his family's supposed shotgun battle with aliens in 1955. A UFO investigator describes what she believes to be a face-to-face encounter with an alien. Just a mile from New York City, dozens of people hold the stories of UFOs and extraterrestrial visitations in a public park. And finally, a biblical scholar explains his belief that 6,000 years ago, all of human civilization was influenced by visitors from outer space. The notion of extraterrestrial life, fact or fiction? Or can it only be described as unexplained? In 1955, Kelly, Kentucky, 70 miles north of Nashville, Tennessee, was a peaceful farming community. On the evening of August 21st, deep in the Kelly countryside, a party of 10 people reported a wild encounter with aliens. The Langfords were winding down from a family get-together filled with laughter and card playing. 12 years old at the time, Lonnie Langford says he remembers that night clearly.
There was me, my brother, my sister, 2 half-brothers, their wives, and a friend and his wife. And that's about it, besides my mother. And we just sat around, you know, and talked and played cards. My half-brother's friend, Taylor, he had to go out. You know, we didn't have no inside restrooms back then. And as he was going out the door, he looked up and he noticed this round object. It had lights all around it.
The Langfords' guest raced inside to tell the others what he had seen. They all thought he was joking. The card playing went on, uninterrupted. Finally, everyone turned in for the night. Everyone except Lonnie's mother.
She was just laying there awake with her eyes open and looking out the living room window, and I saw this this object standing there. She screamed, you know.
Everyone jumped out of bed, and Lonnie's brothers grabbed their shotguns.
He saw little creatures 3 foot tall, webbed feet, webbed ears, big eyes, hands that were webbed shaped like. They were silver, had silver uniforms, no noise, no sound, no talking. They was just there. I don't know why.
Lonnie and his family watched the creatures float through the air as his brothers fired their shotguns. They say some bullets knocked the aliens over, but that to everyone's horror, the strange beings got back up again, unscathed.
Everybody got roused up, started hollering and screaming.
Lonnie's brother headed outside with his shotgun.
Just as he was going outside, one of them grabbed him by the hair of the head, and then he jumped on out in the yard and, you know, shot at him.
Lonnie Langford said he and his family watched in terror as these glowing beings circled their home. When his brothers finally ran out of ammunition, they brandished their flashlights. The beams illuminated the sky, and to the family's surprise, the silver creatures quickly retreated into the darkness.
They wasn't trying to hurt nobody. They wasn't trying to hurt a soul. I think they was more scared of us than we were of them. You know, but I was really scared. You know, I'm just telling you the truth.
Is Lonnie Langford telling the truth? Or is his story nothing more than a twisted memory from a family gathering gone awry? What we do know is that on the same evening, other residents in the area had reported what they believed to be meteor sightings, accompanied by a strange, machine-like hum. When the Langfords reported their sighting, police officers, state troopers, and even soldiers from the nearby Fort Campbell Army Base arrived to check it out. Kentucky State Trooper Russell Ferguson investigated the incident. He found no physical evidence to substantiate the Langford story.
The only thing that we did find was the family there, rather disturbed, very emotional, and swearing that something had occurred in the way of small, silver-looking people with big eyes and big heads trying to get into their house.
UFO investigator Philip Imbrogno finds the Langford family's story compelling. He thinks they may indeed have encountered extraterrestrials.
It is one of the cases that is actually very convincing, because here you have a family that really didn't care anything about UFOs, and all of a sudden they report that they had these little beings coming on their property and they fired on them and so on. And to this day, that is one of the cases that convince me that perhaps we should consider that there are extraterrestrials here from time to time that have landed on our planet and interacted with our society.
During the time of the Langford sighting in the mid-50s, Americans of all walks of life were enthralled with space-age images. And a new wave of science fiction movies was coming out of Hollywood, many of which were based on the growing anxieties surrounding the Cold War.
The local people were influenced by movies and books and magazine articles popular in that particular time, but keep in mind that the people of this area were fundamentally agricultural in background and Protestant in their faith, with some commitment to the fundamental side of faith.
Since the Langfords claimed to be devout Christians, is it possible that they had become overzealous from a religious revival meeting that Sunday afternoon? State Trooper Russell Ferguson doesn't think so. He believes they were drunk.
I didn't find anything up there except just a bunch of people running amok. They had one specific emotion, and that's from, I think, a pretty wild day.
Oh, there was no alcohol there. No alcohol at all, because my mom, she was real Christian and she wouldn't allow it in the house. My brothers did drink, you know, but they didn't have anything around the house. There wasn't no alcohol around the house that night.
Another explanation for what took place that night involves a traveling circus which happened to be passing through town.
I went to our newspaper files and found the showing of the Shrine Circus here at our fairgrounds for 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, prior to this activity at Kelly. It's certainly possible that monkeys were in that traveling troupe of the Shrine Circus, and it is possible that some of them could have escaped.
Some people said it was monkeys from a circus. I didn't know that there was a circus at the time, and neither did my family. There ain't no silver monkeys. How can a monkey be silver?
If these strange visions weren't brought on by excessive drinking or playful chimpanzees, what really happened? One author on paranormal phenomena, Greg Little, thinks there could be a scientific explanation. This part of Kentucky lies on a major fault line. Little points out that tectonic pressures in the earth can create unusual forms of electromagnetic discharge, strong enough to disorient people.
These electromagnetic plasmas have this enormous, powerful electromagnetic field around them. And when a person gets close to this field, it does interact with brain biochemistry. It also produces serotonin, a substance that is biochemically identical to a hallucinogenic drug called dimethyltryptamine, which is a 30-minute LSD trip, which, gee, if you had a 30-minute LSD trip when you were asleep, what would we call that? A dream.
Dreams, nightmares, few, if any, will ever be sure of exactly what happened that summer night in 1955.
I have no idea why the aliens visit me. Maybe they're just passing over and something, got curious and wanted to come down. I don't have no idea. Why do you think God put all those other planets out there and all those moons and all those other suns and just left this one with life on it? All the rest of them out there is without life now.
I ask you, if you were suddenly capable of going from here to Mars or the sun or whatever other planet, and you were coming to Earth with all that technology that was available to you. Now, surely to hell you wouldn't land in Kelly, Kentucky, when we've got the nation's capital and all the other big cities and what have you. No, I don't think so.
One thing is certain. Lonnie Langford and his family did not go out seeking extraterrestrials that August evening, and the memory has haunted them ever since. Next, the testimony of a UFO investigator who believes she has initiated contact with aliens. That story when we return to The Unexplained, here on A&E. There are areas around the world which are known as so-called UFO hotspots because of the frequency of reported sightings. Pine Bush in upstate New York is one of those places. That is what attracted UFO investigator Ellen Crystal. This is where she actively attempts to initiate contact with aliens. Having written a book on her experiences called Silent Invasion, she believes her 20 years of research, including over 1,000 photographs, offers evidence of the existence of extraterrestrial life.
It really takes a certain mentality to do it in a cohesive way so that you come away with some research. I mean, there's people like me trying to collect research and successfully doing it and trying to have close encounters where you can use equipment and machinery that actually works and registers.
Ellen first began searching for extraterrestrials in the countryside around Pine Bush during the early 1980s. At that time, a psychic told her that she had been cured by aliens during a severe childhood illness.
She basically did a reading with me, and she said, when you were 4, you were really sick, and she said, I see the ship above a White House, and they healed you. And I said, well, I was sick. I was sick for 8 months. I thought I was 2.
This psychic reading motivated Ellen to pursue her dream of meeting up with aliens. This is her story. She maintains that on August 7th, 1980, she had a close encounter which satisfied her curiosity, perhaps more fully than she had expected.
My own stipulation was that I would not walk in a new field that I hadn't walked in already. So I had gone up to actually the first site, which is right up here, about half a mile, and I was standing in the field and I was turning around, just watching some nebulous lights. I saw a huge bright light go down in the trees right across the street from me. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I kind of thought they were daring me.
Ellen took the challenge. She drove from field to field, contemplating her next move. Gathering up her courage, she went back to the spot where she had first seen the mysterious lights. She says that as she aimed her flashlight up into the trees, she saw something that looked like a moth. But when she moved the light down, she saw legs. Legs that appeared to run in place.
But the thing ran across the clearing when it could have ducked into any bush. This was the other thing that puzzled me. It ran across the clearing, came to the edge of the clearing, stopped and stared at me. The alien in Pine Bush was about 3.5 feet tall. No discernible clothing, beige, very pale beige looking, very thin, large head, no hair, very big yellow eyes that wrapped around to the side, and the eyes were what caught in my flashlight.
Ellen was bewildered by an overwhelming power, which she sensed radiating from the creature.
I mean, they look, if you just look at somebody that size, you think nothing, like a child. But then you get this awesome feeling of power. And at that point, I probably decided to take off. That was probably one of the deciding factors.
Frightened, exhausted, she drove to a deserted parking lot to rest and collect her thoughts.
Couldn't deal with all the emotion. I was so paralyzed with fear, and I remember my chest like going up and down. I mean, I was totally panic-stricken. I started to sweat.
Ellen Crystal kept a journal of this and other experiences that she included in her book. As part of her research, she has developed elaborate theories, all her own, about why these aliens have come to Earth.
I think that the aliens have a problem. I think they have a really terminal physical problem. I think the only reason that aliens would be coming here on such a massive level would be if they have a terminal physical problem, and that essentially equates to reproduction, that they may be a race on the edge of extinction.
Are Ellen Crystal's claims of extraterrestrial incursions into upstate New York to be believed? Or is she subscribing to a type of modern-day mythology? Professor of Sociology at Northwestern University, Bernard Beck, thinks this is the case.
There are some people who are saying, when the extraterrestrials come, they are so smart and so accomplished just by virtue of the fact that they got here, that they'll bring with them all sorts of things to make our lives better. They'll take care of us. And like anything that is created by ordinary people in their masses, through culture, through talking over back fences and talking over lunch and talking over a beer at a bar, it creates a culture, expectations, and a sense of the way these things are supposed to go.
According to fellow UFO investigator Philip Imbrogno, Ellen's expectations are so intense that combined with her apparent fascination with science fiction, her objectivity is severely compromised.
I believe that Ellen Crystal is very sincere about what she's doing. I question some of her methods of investigation and some of her conclusions as to what she is collecting. When she looks at her evidence, she says this can be nothing else but ETs. Okay? When I look at her evidence, I say, well, you've got something here. There are a lot of unexplainable sightings, but I don't think she has enough evidence to actually put a label on it to say this is an extraterrestrial spaceship.
Many of the UFO sightings in Hudson Valley occur around the Stewart International Airport near Pine Bush. Airport manager and retired air traffic controller Ken No is familiar with these claims.
People can see meteors, which are pretty spectacular sights sometimes. Most of the sightings that I've heard of are in the evening, and various airplanes have different kinds of lights, different configurations of lights, and if people aren't looking at the night sky all the time, or a great deal of the time, they may find something unusual looking.
Adding to the confusion, in the summer of 1988, during a rash of reported UFO sightings, a group of pilots decided to play a practical joke on the residents of the Hudson Valley.
They flew in an echelon formation, or if you like, a V formation, in small light aircraft, which don't make a great deal of noise, and they looked pretty impressive. And so it was quite an impressive sight. And a number of people reported that as a UFO, which probably was the pilot's intention in the first place, to have some fun with folks. It was quite a stunt for a number of years.
Ken No and other local air traffic controllers remain skeptical.
Seen some of her work, some of
International Airport.
Clearly looks like an airplane to me.
white, the diamond were white and green. That's how it was flying.
93, 5 years after Delia's reported 1988 sighting, another North Bergen resident, Ann Karlovich, who had been skeptical of the Warski sighting, claimed she too was an eyewitness to an unidentified flying object.
Elliptical shaped, large light shining, and I looked at it and I said, gee, wow, what is that? And it seemed to be moving very slowly, but I wasn't sure. And then as I turned my car around, it was gone. So I came into the house, and my son-in-law and daughter were here. And I said to Joe, my son-in-law, I said, wow, did I see something strange on Boulevard East? And he said, I saw it too.
It had a sort of eerie glow. It looked metallic and was very well lit, like with a fluorescent, bright flood kind of light. As I recall it to be a blimp-like object, like an elongated, like an ellipse, elliptical sphere, if you will.
Joe Bass remembers reading the next day in the local newspaper that all the blimps in the area had been grounded due to foggy weather.
I know what it wasn't. I know that it wasn't some sort of lights on the clouds or a meteor or anything like that. I suspect it was either some kind of government aircraft, some Air Force kind of aircraft that they don't let on that they have, an aircraft of this type. It wasn't a plane, it wasn't a helicopter, it was like a blimp type object.
It is quite clear that people in this area believe they are seeing UFOs. But are they alien spacecraft? Since World War II, reports of UFO sightings have grown to merit a system of classification, a way to categorize people's claims. This method was developed by an astronomy professor at Northwestern University, J. Allen Hynek. It was he who coined the phrase close encounter of the third kind to describe human contact with an alien. Philip Imbrogno collaborated with Hynek on his final book in 1987. They collected accounts of East Coast sightings, which Imbrogno says number into the thousands.
As I began to investigate more cases, I began to realize that I was just touching the tip of the iceberg. Actually, over in a period of 5 years, 1,000 sightings. Now, they were made by people who are pillars in the community. Police officers, pilots, lawyers, educators, scientists, executives for major corporations, all saw an object that they
thus latching on to observation
fact that it's popular with your brain, vastly decreased. I think people are more open to the possibility. I believe every human being is important, that is exciting. Certainly with the advent of human beings becoming more sophisticated in terms of space travel, other planets, I think all of that has fueled, and reasonably so, this entire belief system and movement.
Although skeptics like Professor Dolezal give compelling reasons why people think they see things which are not really there, believers remain irritated by the general skepticism they encounter. Franco Barsky is still perplexed by his father's alleged experience.
It really bothered him that people thought he was lying about this. And that's the thing that I find the most compelling about this whole story, and the thing that I have the most trouble with.
I suppose it is frightening because it's the unknown. You know, things that are not really part of the known are frightening.
It just came and went, and I could be wrong, but I think that was really a once-in-a-lifetime event where I saw something that's unexplained.
Next, a biblical scholar describes his own vision of extraterrestrials. Only these aliens supposedly visited Earth 6,000 years ago and changed the course of human history. That's next on A&E.
Whether I'm creating a special FTD arrangement for a birthday, an anniversary, or even better, just because, I know that it'll probably make a few other folks happy along the way. It always does. So send someone an FTD bouquet right now. Who knows how many people's day you'll be making.
Some of life's best moments come FTD. Call your local FTD florist.
Well, we wanted to enjoy our retirement, work with kids, hang out in the backyard. All 40 zillion acres of it.
For over 50 years, we've been helping people invest with confidence. T. Rowe Price.
If you can't sleep well, it may be because you can't breathe well through your nose. Breathe Right strips gently pull open nasal passages so you can breathe better.
Falling leaves, a sycamore,
and have a more peaceful night's sleep.
Moonlight in Vermont.
Approximately 6,000 years ago, in southern Mesopotamia, a people known as